Right, we are live. Hey guys, how's it going? Welcome back to the Kiwi Lads channel. We are back for another game of the Rugby Championship competition. This one happening in Argentina in what is not ideal weather. Unfortunately, it is pouring down with rain. It is very windy, but this game still has to take place. These two sides will still be fired up. Argentina at home after beating the All Blacks in New Zealand once. They want to add more points into the overall Rugby Championship standings, but Australia, they are sitting 0 wins from 2. Under Joe Schmidt, they want to turn this Rugby Championship around. There's still a chance that they can do relatively well, but they need 2 wins in Argentina, and that is exactly what they will be after. This is the way that the Rugby Championship table sat before today. We did see a game earlier on. I don't want to give away too many spoilers, but I'm sure there will be one at some point. But for anyone who is just tuning in right now, one of these two sides is in first, one of the other is in second, but Argentina, massive opportunity for them. If they can get a win on home soil, that would help boost them a little bit more on this overall Rugby Championship. They have got huge potential, but they just have to put it together. And I wonder whether or not these wet conditions might actually work a little bit in their favour. They'll be able to go for that kicking game and slowly try and break down the Australians. Looking through at the starting lineup for the Argentines, it is Thomas Cachot at number 1, Julio Montoya at 2, and Joel Scalavi as the number 3. Molina back into that number 4 jersey. He was missing from the second game, but in this game does get that 4 jersey back. Rubiolo at 5 with Pablo Matera. Marcos Crema returning to 7 after playing 4 in the last fixture up against the New Zealanders, and Juan Martin Gonzalez at number 8 for this matchup. In the back line, it will be Gonzalo Berrano as the 9 with Santiago Carreras at 10, Santiago Chocabarez and Lucio Cinti in the midfield with Mateo Carreras, Santiago Cordero and Juan Cruz Malia at number 15. He was pretty strong up against New Zealand. Now, we saw 2 very different games up against the All Blacks for Argentina. The first game, they were phenomenal, and they were able to get themselves that 8-point victory. The second game, we never really saw them get out of the gates. They were struggling to match the tempo that New Zealand were playing. So if you're Australia in this game, you have to try and play more like New Zealand did in the second test match so that you bring Argentina into that uncomfortable water, and literally there will be water on the field with how wet it is, but you have to make sure that you are starting this match well. For the Australians, Argentina, you have to make sure that you're on song from the get-go. For the Australians, they have got a new captain in order. It is Harry Wilson in that number 8 jersey. Also a debutant at 12 in Hamish Stewart, Angus Bell, Matt Faisler and Taniela Tupou, though. They will be the starting front row here for Australia. Nick Frost and Lucan Salakai-Alotto in the locking duo with Rob Ballatini, Carlo Tizzano, and then also Harry Wilson at 8. Carlo Tizzano currently sitting, I believe it was second at the start of this round in terms of tackles completed. He made 35, just 5 behind Ethan Blackadder, who found himself sitting on 40. Jake Gordon and Noel Alessio, they are persisting with this combination. Some have been asking, should they have Ben Donaldson? Should there be a Tom Liner in the mix? But Noel Alessio, he's been given the approval of the coach. He's been given that 10 jersey again. And it will be interesting to see how he matches up against the Argentines, mainly because if he gets his kicking right, it will be ideal for the Australians. But if he gets it wrong, the Pumas are just as likely as any side to be able to get that counter-attack going and then make you pay for a poor kick. Hamish Stewart, like I mentioned, on debut for the Australians. He has got a huge amount of experience at Super Rugby level. Lena Cattell at 13, then Marika Kurumbetti out on the left wing, Andrew Callaway out on the right, and Tom Wright at number 15. Now, so far for the Australians, they have only scored 1 try across their first 2 games of the Rugby Championship, but somewhere that they are extremely strong is actually their scrum. They've got the best scrum win percentage of any side. Now, uncontested scrums last game up against South Africa probably did help that stat quite a bit, but either way, they will still be happy to be in these scrums today. Pumas by 13 points, says Stephen. We've got Pumas by 6, says Justin. And also, this is going to finish at 2 in the morning here in South Africa. Yeah, a little bit of a rough time for you guys in South Africa, but I'm sure that quite a few will still be awake and they will be partying all throughout the night from the game that we did see a little bit earlier on. Riley has said, hi, welcome in, mate. Hope you are doing extremely well. And good morning. It's a beautiful day today, says Sandor. And any score predictions, Argentina 32, Australia 19, says Brandon. Yeah, I think Australia do come in as underdogs for this contest up against the Argentines, which, I mean, it's going to be interesting to see whether or not we get to see that same Pumas side, like I said, that we saw in the first game up against New Zealand, or is it going to be more like the side we saw in the second? And then if that's the case, I think Australia have got a real chance of winning this game. We should also mention wet conditions. Both of these sides did not play that well last game in wet conditions, but I would argue that Australia maybe looked a little bit more sound than Argentina in the wet. Good morning, evening, amigo, says Fletcher. Welcome in. Argentina by 15, Australia 32-17. And we have got there, hey, Hamish in chat says, bystander, is anybody else having the most fantastic day today? Just a lovely, lovely day, says Sandor. And there as well, well, Hamish with the disrespect, no suit for the useless team, disgusting, says Sandor. It's more so the fact that that last game, like, I don't want to go too much into information, but I got a bit hot from that last contest. So I didn't really want to wear a sweaty suit for another game. So instead I just put on a hoodie, didn't I? Good game between the All Blacks and the Springboks. I had to wake up so early twice just to watch the commentary, says Lave. And apologies, Hamish, if I come across the wrong way. Not personal. I value your commentary work, says Naz. Yeah, I do apologise if you felt like I wasn't reading as many messages from yourself as I should have earlier on. The chat just got really, really, really fast, and I struggled to read, I think, even 10% of the messages that were coming through, which was a bit of a shame. But like I said, normally after those big live streams, I go back and I look through the chat that I missed, just so that I don't miss any messages that people did put. Vamos Argentina, says Flesh. Hi, all, and Hamish, says Robert. And Australia by 10, says Darren. And also, I really hope Australia win, and win well with good rugby, says Vitamin Green. But that's the thing, both of these sides need a win here. Argentina currently sitting on 4 points for their overall Rugby Championship standings. Australia, they are yet to receive a single point. They weren't able to get any up against the South Africans, but now they're in the scenario of a perfect chance of getting their Rugby Championship back on track, because I believe we have seen here it's going to be more than likely New Zealand, South Africa at the top, and then Argentina, Australia just below. But then there is a chance that maybe Argentina could find themselves boosted up just a little bit more, and Argentina going win. Well, from the Springbok supporter, good luck, well done to the Bok for beating the All Blacks and South Africa early on 31-27, says Ali there as well. And I've not been on this chat in 2 months. Wow, says Lave. And mate, you had over 100 peeps, my bad, says Naz Williams. Nah, it's all good. Like, it was more of a hectic live stream than I thought it would be, only because since they had SABC available to watch that game, I assumed that our numbers would have dropped quite a bit. But there were quite a few people who decided to watch us rather than SABC. And you know what? Who else needed a win today? A look at the sun shining, spring is coming, just beautiful, says Sandor. This game not too far away from getting underway. We should see both sides making their way out of the tunnel in the very near future. We all need Australia to sort themselves out. It just doesn't seem right that they're struggling like this, says Vitamin Green. And the hardest thing is having that bad patch before the brightness, if that makes sense. Because for Australia, no coach has been able to get them into a position where the Australian public and the Australian Rugby Board have felt that they've done enough. Joe Schmidt wants to be that guy that can turn the Wallabies around. But the question is, are they going to try and get rid of him before he can get to that point? Because they've done it before, they'll do it again. Hopefully it's not the case, though, for Joe Schmidt. I watched you with the game on, and so should everyone else, says Dylan Unicorn. And Australia 25-33 lose up against the Argentines. And what is the current Rugby Championship table looking like? It is looking the same as it did at the start of this round, except the difference is New Zealand have an extra point, and also we have seen 4 points for the South Africans after that last game. Do you partake in sports betting? I do not, because I suck at predictions. Although, to be fair, I predicted South Africa to win by 2, and they won by 4. So that was probably one of my better bits of predicting work. USA, Canada in about 3 hours in LA. Says Gus there. And I live in Perth and Melbourne for a bit, so go Australia. But I dislike them, says Naz Williams. It makes it tricky, doesn't it, if you are in Australia. So you're in Auckland now, aren't you? I assume, Naz. It's very hard to keep up with where everyone has moved, because I know some people have been living in New Zealand, then they moved to Australia. Nate, for instance, he was a Auckland boy, but now he's in Melbourne. What do you think about that, Safa kid Sasha? Says Kwasi, I think he's got a really bright future, which I think should be obvious at this point, because being in a game up against the All Blacks, we saw some of those experienced players looking nervous, whereas he just seemed like he was playing his natural game. Whether you put him up against a club side or an international side, it just seems to be the case that he is strong enough and skilled enough to be able to just handle that pressure. I see that this game's been delayed by 10 minutes as well, I should mention, ladies and gentlemen, a 10 past 10 kickoff here in New Zealand. And we have got there up the wires. They were paying $5 for the win. Will be some happy punters, says Sandor. And agree it's a coaching issue. These are great players, says Eric. Oh, looks like Nick White's on the microphone at the moment, but also getting interviewed by someone next to him. But looking through at the bench, and that is where we do see Tate McDermott for the Australians. Some have been arguing to see him in the starting side, but has not quite got that opportunity. Josh Nasser, Isaac Kailea, and Alan Alatoa as the other men in the front row replacements. Jeremy Williams alongside Langy Gleeson. Now, Williams did actually not play in the last contest. That was due to a head knock that he did get in the first test match. Ben Donaldson and Max Jorgensen also making their way off the bench in this matchup for the Argentines. Huge amount of experience in their number 16 jersey with Augustin Crevi, Mako Vivas, and Eduardo Bello as the other two forward replacements. Guido Petti back for this Argentine side with Thomas Lavanini coming off the bench. Grondona, Bazan Velez, and Thomas Albanoz, the last player for the Argentines. But looking through at what has happened in the past, ladies and gentlemen, the first two rounds of the Rugby Championship, Australia not really able to get their feet underneath them in those first two games up against South Africa, lacking possession as well as the territory in that first contest, 33 points to 7 in favour of the Springboks. In the second game, they were a little bit better, but they weren't able to score any tries, and I feel like that will be something that they look at from those first two games of only scoring the once. They will want to completely turn it around here, whereas their opponents, Argentina, they actually scored 5 tries from their first two games up against the New Zealanders, including the first match that did take place in Wellington, where they won 38 points to 30. That was a monumental win for Los Pumas. The first slight, I guess you could say, the slight problem in some regards of the Scott Robinson coaching era anyway in some people's eyes, but they fixed it in the second game. Argentina weren't able to get back in it. Argentina are chasing back-to-back wins since 2016. I think they just showed up against the Australians, and they've won 4 Rugby Championship matches on home soil. So they'll feel confident that they can go into this game, get themselves a victory, and still plenty more to come of this Rugby Championship. Next week, they are going to be playing a little bit earlier on. It will be a 7 a.m. kickoff here in New Zealand rather than the 10 a.m. Be following that South Africa versus New Zealand rematch. Then we go into the Bledisloe Cup as well as the last 2 rounds of the Rugby Championship. Argentina will be at home hosting the Springboks and then heading to South Africa on the 29th of September, or the 28th for you guys in South Africa, for the final game of the competition. We have got there, Sasha was good, Fussy was not great. He got found out of position a few times, says Sandor. And yeah, once Kurt Liaudense went off, there was that little patch where the Springboks defence wasn't quite set up the way that they would have liked, because Jesse Creel was still defending in the midfield. And then Apalele Fassi, there were a lot of times that he got set up pretty badly in terms of being the only defender with about 2 or 3 men in front of him. So, he's still very good at getting yellow cards, I'll give him that, because it just seems to be no matter what, when he's in an international kit, he can find a way of getting a yellow. He just didn't really get to show off his attacking game, I don't think, as much as people would have liked to see. We have got there Auckland right now, Amish, but love Waimani and all of New Zealand. Says Nards Williams, Crevi last game, he will be missed. Says Kwasi. We have got the All Blacks lineup should look like this. Tamaiti Williams, Cody Taylor, Tyro Lomax. Well, it did. Fun fact. We have got there, do you know if the Abby's result has any effect on the world rankings? I don't think it does a huge amount to them. It's pretty rough in some regards in terms of the way that the rankings work, because if South Africa had lost that game, they would have lost 2 points or something like that. But if New Zealand lose, I think they only lose 0.5 or maybe even a little bit less than that. I'm not too so sure about Mark Talia anymore. Says Kwasi, fun fact, a lot of New Zealanders have felt that way ever since the start of the Super Rugby Pacific season, if not beforehand. Like, I made a bit of a rough comment, which was Mark Dillier missed a tackle, what's new, on that live stream, because the man just doesn't have defence. He's decent on attack. He's had the most defenders beaten out of any player in terms of the first 2 rounds of the Rugby Championship, but the man just cannot defend, which is why Caleb Clark, I believe, has booked himself his spot in the starting lineup for the way that he was under the high ball as well as on attack. I don't think they'll take him out of the lineup now. And 10 a.m. for you and 8 a.m. kickoff. This is a treat for us, says Xavier Brown. Yeah, we are used to those weird 3 a.m. kickoffs, which is, of course, what we did for New Zealand versus South Africa. But yeah, 10 a.m. feels really weird after you've been up all night for a New Zealand versus South Africa game earlier. Hopefully this game does deliver, though. A very wet game at the moment by the looks of it. Hi, Hamish. It's almost a month since I last chatted to you. How does the public feel about that loss? New Zealand probably feel that one got away. The Springboks will, by next weekend, I assume that's regroup by next weekend from Mornay. Yeah, I mean, there's mixed opinions about that game. There's the ones who look at the controversial decisions throughout the games, but then at the same time, there are the ones who look at that penalty count and think New Zealand gave away far too many penalties throughout an 80-minute game of rugby to be able to be too disappointed about losing it, if that makes sense. But it's always going to be one of those ones that I think with two passionate and vocal fan bases, like whoever won that game, we know deep down that their fans were going to get right into the other side. And of course, the side that lost were going to try and get right into the side that won. Like, it's just a case of, like, with the two fan bases, you've always got the ones who will be very vocal, whereas you've also got the quiet ones who will just be like, it was a good game, we didn't get it, but we'll get it next week, type thing. At 11 p.m. here, Saturday night, rockin'. Here's a controversial question. Would the Australian public miss rugby union if it stopped tomorrow, says Fleshin? Only a very fair few. I mean, there'd be some who are happy that they get to see rugby union players have to play league, I think. We have got there, what reason is this delay? It's always late with the Australians. I don't know why, but they always schedule a game for 10 minutes earlier than it actually takes place, even when they're playing away from home. I assume that it was just the time to set up the cameras in the wet conditions might have been what was the delay, but the two sides now making their way out of the tunnel. We have got there, any idea on a ball in playtime for South Africa versus All Blacks? Must have been high. Yeah, it just felt like no matter what, both sides, yes, they went for the kicks for the corner every once in a while, but they wanted to run the ball. And in terms of, if you watch that game from a completely neutral standpoint, if you were new to rugby, that would be the type of game that would hook you on the game. Because it went down to the wire, extremely close, right to the final whistle, which is what you want. At the end of the day, like, as much as both sides wanted to win comfortably, I feel like a close game just does so much more for rugby as a whole. And I hope that the next game is just as close. Are you excited for the Oasis reunion? I'll be honest, I hadn't thought twice about it, Darren. I know that it's happening because someone said about it the other day, but I probably couldn't name you more than one Oasis song, if I'm being honest with you. And Sasha did well, but way too inconsistent. Call from the ref says Red 7. Yeah, there were a few moments that, like, it didn't seem like they had full control of the game, but then that can happen in those type of atmospheres and those type of massively important games. Sometimes referees step up and sometimes referees feel that pressure, and at the end of the day, just like the players, they're only human. Sometimes errors will happen, and sadly, like in certain cases, they won't know until after the game when they look at the replay and go, oh, whoops, don't look back, Wonderwall in anger. See, I only know Wonderwall. Other than that, I'm no good with Oasis songs, but the Argentines just making their way out of the tunnel now, ladies and gentlemen, with their national anthems, and then we are ready to go for this matchup. We have got, I predicted Box to win 30 points to 30, so close. What a relief. It's going to be a great day. See the Zen. And we have got there 100 games. I have a tendency to really slow down second half. The game was a cracker, says Sandor. And Sasha gives himself space and time. Seems prepared for anything, good tackler. And that's somewhere that I think he has the advantage over Andre Pollard. Like, as much as people like to say about Sasha Feinberg Ngome Zulu's attack, he is defensively sound. Like, there were many times that Geordie Barrett tried to pierce that 9-10 channel, and we ended up seeing Sasha make that first tackle, shut it down, and then the All Blacks had to look towards the men on the outside. And great work, the dedication is unreal, man, says First 15 Rugby. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated you being here for this match. Nice 10 a.m. start for us here in New Zealand. I believe a little bit later for you guys elsewhere. And I think so too. Broofbox were doubting themselves a little with ball in hand. Big confidence booster, says Sandor. These two sides in the wet Argentine conditions. It is raining. It is windy. It is not really what you want for a game of rugby. Definitely not for two sides that their last game in the rain neither played particularly well. But this is a new game. This is a new chance to go on and get themselves a big win. Harry Wilson, his first game as the captain. As South Africa are in a golden period right now. How does it compare to New Zealand's last golden era? Says Darren. I mean, no matter how I answer that, people will get annoyed, I think. Because, like, I think the biggest difference is, right? Oh, there's a bit of feedback coming through for the national anthem. That's pretty brutal. This era at the moment for South Africa, they've had a lot more close games than that golden era of New Zealand. That's not a bad thing. That just shows that when it comes to push, comes to shove, right in the final moments, this side know how to win. We look at that Rugby World Cup, 3 wins by 1 point in a row, and that just shows the testament to the concentration as well as knowing what you need to do to get that win, not putting too much extra out there, but just enough. So, like, in terms of wins, they've done extremely well. They've beaten some great sides throughout this last 24-month period. New Zealand, in that era of the one that you are talking around that double World Cup stage, they had a lot more comfortable wins over certain sides. But this side for South Africa, there's no doubt that they have an ability to win games when it matters, and they've done that time and time again throughout the last little while. Go show to show or to score, and Argentina by 8. And Aussies are due for a performance. New South Wales Waratahs played plenty in the wet, so hopefully can draw on the experience. Says First 15, I was a neutral and it was a great game to watch. My son is a current player who watched it. I can't say his take on the game. Says Fleshin, well, rugby is more competitive these days, not counting South Africa. They are miles ahead of the pack. Says Sandor, and this is a South Africa golden era. We all know that's going to end at some point, like AB's back in 2011. Says it was there from Red. And what's up, says Kia, and welcome in. The Argentine national anthem just happening at the moment, and then we are ready to go for this contest. Just once again, for anyone who hasn't seen it, this Argentine starting lineup: Thomas Cachot, Julio Montoya, and Joska Levy as the front row. Molina, Alonso, Rubiolo in the locking duo with Pablo Matera, Marcos Crema, and Juan Matan Gonzalez sorting in as the number 8. Gonzalo Burrano and Santiago Carreras will be the 19 combo, with the midfield of Santiago Chocavarez and Lucio Cinti. Mateo Carreras out on one wing, Santiago Cordero out on the right, and Juan Cruz Malia at number 15. For the Australians in their starting lineup, quite a few changes from what we did see in the last games up against South Africa. Angus Bell, Matt Faisler, and Taniela Tupou, the Tongan Thor, moves into the starting side. Nick Frost and Lucan Salakai Loro. Nick Frost back from his injury that he did get in the first game. Rob Ballatini, Carlo Tazzano, and the captain, Harry Wilson, as the number 8. Jay Gordon and Noah Lolesio in the 19 combination, with Hamish Stewart on debut for the Wallabies. I believe they said he's the 15th debutant under the Joe Schmidt era. So certainly giving these young guys an opportunity. He has a huge amount of experience, though, in Super Rugby, over 100 caps to his name, and he normally lights the season on fire at inside centre. Lena Katau on his outside with Marika Corambetti, Andrew Callaway, and Tom Wright there at number 15. But that is the starting lineup for these two sides. Rassi is the best coach ever, says VG Man. We have good there. What do you think of this AB's team? I put above, says Zen. And I agree, we're just not there yet. Sorry, I'm not sure what the question was, Zen. The tram. I assume that was team. I put above. Oh, you had a lineup, didn't you? So you had Bowden at 10, Talia at 11, Geordie Clark in 13, Reece Jordan. I don't think they'll do it. I think that Clark cemented himself as an 11. You don't really want to switch him to 13, because or else then you get a Rico Ioane situation, how maybe he scores tries on the wing, but he doesn't score tries when he is in the middle. When does this game start? Supposed to start 10 minutes ago at 11 p.m, says David. Yeah, they were delayed by 10 minutes. National anthem being sung for Argentina. Then we are straight into the action of this contest. But this Argentine national anthem seems longer than normal, to be honest. I think those are the last couple notes, though, so we are now ready. Oh, no, it's just firing up again by the sounds of it. It might be another verse. I agree. We're just not there yet in the AB's golden era. They went on multiple 10-plus winning streaks for 5-plus years. Says a vitamin. And I wonder what Sir John Kerwin going to say after that loss. He always says the Springboks play boring rugby. Nothing boring by the 2024 Springboks. Says Morning Lagrange and that team of Nonu, Conrad Smith, Richie McCall was something else. Says Darren. And there as well. And don't forget Kano. And Reed back then, that was a monster team. Says Reed 7. And the Argentine anthem has a very long intro, though, at the beginning. But it has now been sung, ladies and gentlemen, 4 p.m. in Canada. So here's Craig, of course, Canada playing up against the USA in a very short moment for the Pacific Nations Cup. We did see Samoa getting themselves the win over Tonga a little bit earlier on in the weekend. Jake is lying on bed, having a cry. Says Sandor. And I mean, watching the post-match for New Zealand in terms of the studio, Mills Muliaina, there was Jeff Wilson, they all looked absolutely gutted about this one because I think a lot of people, when New Zealand had that 10-point lead, felt that that was enough. But deep down, in fact, I think I even said it on the stream as well, I said 10 isn't enough. They need another try. And because they weren't able to get that extra one, in the end, South Africa going from being down by 10 to up by 4 is just a testament to the amount of impact that their bench had. I mean, Quagga Smith, that man is absolutely phenomenal. We got the donation from Kwasi as well. Thank you very much, mate, for your super sticker. Greatly appreciated. James Dolman, the referee in charge of this one. Crevy's last game will be a hard one for the Aussies, says Claudio there. And I agree that World Rugby is more competitive now than it was in 2011. That AB's team, things have just shifted between the other teams. South Africa and New Zealand have always been consistent, says VG Man. Have you watched any of the Rugby Pacific Nations Cup, mate? I have indeed. We've covered the games that have taken place for the Pacific Island side of the draw. What time is the game starting? It is just about to start. They've been delayed by about 10 or so minutes, but we are now ready to go for this matchup. How can you look at the last World Cup? I think it's not more competitive than 2011, says Sandor. AB's back then is just way ahead than the pack. But now the countdown just about to take place. Noel Alicio will be kicking off this one for the Australians to get us underway for the second game of the Rugby Championship for today, ladies and gentlemen. We did see the All Blacks taking on the Springboks not too long ago, and now we get to see Argentina at home taking on the Wallabies. But it is a wet, stormy kind of day in Argentina. Nicely claimed by the Argentines. In fact, no, Australia have come out with that ball. This is a really weird camera angle. Hopefully it's not the one that we see the whole time, drop on, or knock on, I should say, from Lukan Salakai Lotto. Looks like there's also an injury for an Argentine player. We're only 20 seconds in. And this does not look good already for, not actually too sure who it was. I thought it might have been Rubiolo, the number 5, but now it's going to be Tom Wright kicking this one into touch. Doesn't get a huge amount of distance on it. Don't think South Africa All Black rivalry gets enough credit in world sport. Says Darren, and more yellow cards for ruck infringements. Jean Gonzalo Burranova, who was the man who was down earlier with the injury. Puma should smash them. And perfect weather for Argentina forwards to smash the Wallabies, says David. And there as well. But yeah, a very high camera angle. Not one that we're used to seeing in rugby union. It's potentially an HIA they've just mentioned. So after 20 seconds, we have already seen the first injury in this game. Just waiting to find out who it is. I thought it was Rubiolo, but I could be wrong. Looks like Thomas Lavanini is about to make his way onto the field. Yep, it is Rubiolo. I listened to the Argentine anthem live. He gets sucked into it. It was great live, says Fleshin. And this game is going to be a slow one, says Sandor. And damn, that's unfortunate, says Red 7. Did you see his face? Yeah, he had a pretty rough game in terms of the amount of knocks that he took throughout their last contest. I don't think we'll see him for next week, which is massive for the Springboks in terms of what they're going to do in that number 6 jersey. I'm actually going to have a video in terms of what I would do for the next game for the Springboks, but I would honestly give Marco van Staden that chance as the number 6 if Khaleesi isn't fit. Definitely because he was originally named in the team and they're going on about how, oh, you know, he's a great sport for letting Etzebeth take his spot. But, you know, at the end of the day, you'd want a chance, wouldn't you? Sia looked like he came out of a boxing match, fractured his face. Colby has a concussion. Is it Cheslin Colby the concussion or Kurtley Arendse a concussion? And South Africa number 11 got knocked out too. That is true. Kurtley Arendse, loose line out from the Argentines, and it does now mean that Australia have got possession. Rob Bellatini going back across to Angus Bell. Now it looks like they will look to fire this one back into the pocket. And Kurtley says Sandor, and Colby says VG man. Wait, so Cheslin Colby's also got a concussion alongside Kurtley Arendse, VG man. My bad. Okay, never mind. Arendse head to hips. Says Red 7 and Argie's 99% sure. Says Bruce. Just knocked on under the high ball for Juan Cruz Malia. Unfortunately, in these type of games, when there is so much rain and so much slipperiness around, it is going to make it very challenging. Australia, though, have the best scrum of any team in the competition. 94% of their scrums were retained, of course. In that second game up against South Africa, we saw uncontested scrums at times, so that did help that percentage. Pack weight 901 for the Wallabies compared to the 919 or so for the Argentines. Those scrum cats look the same, AV man. I could have sworn Rassi said Cheslin has a concussion. Says VG man, big scrum from Australia. They've got themselves the advantage. Matera stole it, so they will now go back for the original penalty. And a strong start at the moment for the Australians. That is Taniela Tupou, who has managed to win the penalty against Thomas Gasho. 3 minutes into this contest. And I don't think it will be too long before we see the first try. Australia seem like they are pretty concentrated at the moment. They look like they should have a strong game. I don't say had a nasty head knock. Xavier gave in. And when he was standing up, says Red 7. And yeah, we thought at that moment that was going to be a huge hit to South Africa, having only Andre Pollard available off the bench. But I think they transitioned Creel out onto the wing, and then it just seemed to work all right with Pollard as the 12 and Dialindi on the outside. Number 13, Jamie Lee Curtis, says, was there from Sandor. Now chance for Australia. The kick was a little bit close to being kept in by Argentina, but Matt Faisler with the line-out throw now, about 15 metres out from this Argentine line. Sona nicely taken by the captain, Harry Wilson. Looking to get this rolling maul, marching forward. And the game between South Africa and New Zealand, it was pretty lenient in terms of how long teams had to be able to use it. I think in this game, James Dolman will enforce it a little bit more strictly than we saw in that last game. Jake Gordon, flat ball to Rob Bellatini. Tries to go over the top of Thomas Gasho. Now White goes back across to the right-hand side to Nick Frost. Now Nick White. In fact, sorry, it's Jake Gordon, I should say. And at the starting lineup, Rob Bellatini. It's the ball up again, dragged down by Julian Montoya. I've never seen the top of the players' heads like I am seeing at the moment from this camera angle. Jake Gordon. Back across to the right-hand side. Nice phases being put together from the Australians, but they haven't been able to infiltrate this Argentine defence as of yet. Nick Frost, tackled by Joel Scalevi. Now Gordon goes back across to Wilson, tackled by Crema. Now Gordon again, back to Lulusio. Gets it to Taniela Tupou. Julian Montoya manages to shut him down. Now the Australian backline starts to function. Tom Wright couldn't quite get that next pass away. Kick the point, says Allen. Australia going to struggle to accumulate points, says Farid there. Run from Salakai Lotto. Wilson going to mind to Nololisio. Well defended so far from Argentina, up to 14 phases in a row here. Salakai Lotto going off to this left-hand side. Stewart across to Taniela Tupou. Australia have lost about 3 or 4 metres just in the last few phases. Lena Cattell tries to kick him behind. It doesn't work out, but Marika Koromberi able to clean up the loose ball. He's been tackled well low. And Koromberi gets up and goes again. He's knocked that one on. Clear knock on. The referee has missed that one. Now Kurumbetti plays halfback. Daniela Tupou now runs forward again. Is it raining there? It is absolutely pouring down by the looks of it, as well as a bit of a wind. So that will make it pretty tricky for these two sides to find their rhythm. Rush defense from Argentina of Marcos Crema Bell taken down. They're up to 20 phases at the moment. This will be a step in the right direction, I have to say, for Australia, knowing that they can put together so many phases in wet conditions. The fact that they haven't gone anywhere, though, that is probably what they will look at instead. No biggie. Not like he knocked it on over the try line. Says Sandor. Now Lukan Salakaiolotto. Now Gordon going back across to Harry Wilson. Now again, to the left-hand side, not Alessio. They've been attacking for almost 3 minutes straight here for the Australians. They're up to 26 phases. The question is there going to be a try at the end of this attacking set, or is it going to be Argentina who indeed managed to handle this pressure? Joel Scalevi trying to get over the ball, almost ends up in the wrong position. James Dolman says play on. Now they're kicking it in behind. Not Alessio looking for the corner, and he kicks the ball almost dead, but Juan Cruz Malia gets it in the in-goal area. Hard to tell with this 4K camera work, says Warren. Yeah, it's very, very high, this camera angle, compared to pretty much any of the others that we have seen. 26 phases and going nowhere, says VG Man. But yeah, now goal line dropout for the Argentines. Too windy for kicking, says Alan. I mean, they've just tried to kick it. Didn't quite go where they would have liked. Julio Montoya, it's a bit of a shoulder injury here. That might also just be to buy a little bit of time here for Argentina, though. So far, we've seen 36 tackles made by Argentina, 0 made by the Australians in the first 8 minutes. Like they've said, Australia willing to hold the ball for long periods of time. Marika Kurumbetti and a couple phases there. And I try then cough it up, says Alan. And still a 5-pointer, baby, says Sandor. The problem with New Zealand now is that they don't have any competitive opposition when South Africa left Super. They will be catching up from then on, since it could be the end of them if Australia dies, says Red 7. Although, like, people have, of course, gone on about Super Rugby quite a bit, right? But at the same time, they only lost by 4 up against South Africa in South Africa. In a game that they, if they had got it right a little bit better, could have won. Then would people have been saying, is the URC holding South Africa back? Or is it only because New Zealand lost that people are saying it's Super Rugby's fault? A little chip in behind. Now, knocked on by Argentina. So once again, Australia will be in possession. Hamish Stewart goes across to Nick Frost with the big fend and a good run towards the 22. Now Jake Gordon going in behind to Nololisio. Nicely cleaned up by Juan Cruz Malia. And he will kick this one downfield. The crowd liking that one. It's a big boot into the 22 of the Australians, having to retreat about 90 metres. Perfectly weighted kick, and now Nololisio will put that ball into touch. Argentina, massive territory gain there. I agree already in an Aussie half. A coverage like 1 minute delayed, says Farid. And Aussies just shoveling side to side. No dummy runners. Need to sort that out, says Sandor. And completely, they've done pretty fine without South Africa being in their competition. And they'll be fine as well. The only thing they need to do is allow their international players to play. It's a different ball game, says Cameron Kay. And I hated playing in these conditions, says Sandor. It's quite fun for players sometimes, as long as they're not dropping the ball. Like, they'll enjoy the fact that they can slide around a little bit. They've got themselves the advantage here, Argentina, 9 minutes in. Now Santiago Carreras going across to Juan Cruz Malia. This is already more metres made in one run than we saw for Australia throughout the whole of their 27 phases. And a big shot coming in on Santiago Cordero. And there's the knock on, but they'll go back for the original penalty. Maybe just need to stop the all-Barrett experiment, says Farid there. It's so sad that Australian rugby has come to this. Remember the good old days with John Earls, Gregan, Matt Burke, Mortlock, Campese. Well, Hamish with the jinx, says Sandor. And if they include international players, they'll be fine. But they're staunch as against it, says Red 7. 10 minutes into this contest, and this will be an Argentine chance at the posts, if they do want it. We've got Burro in the chat. Welcome in. Hope you are keeping well. I do not speak Spanish, sadly. Gracias, I do know. That's, I think, the only word. So gracias, Burro, for being here. Santiago Carreras is calling for the kicking tee. 3 Santiagos in the starting lineup. 20% of this Argentine starting side with the first name Santiago. I think that's the only double up that we have got. Now a chance to get the early points, and this will be a pretty handy one for Argentina. The fact that they've defended for the first 10 minutes, yet they could be the first team to score points in this contest. You know, sometimes you just got to ride out that early storm of the opposition. Pardon the pun, because it is not nice weather at the moment in Argentina. He's begging for money in Spanish. Says Darren. Is he? What, from me? I mean, if I was still wearing the suit, I'd understand the asking, but I'm just wearing a hoodie. At this point, Carreras has got it over. And Argentina now with the lead 3-0 over the Australians. I'm back with a vengeance. Says, cool story, bro. A prediction of Aussie to win, looking a bit dodgy, yeah, although we're still very early on in this contest. And we have got there Razor needs to keep his team, or this team, and develop them. Let's hope he gives Billy Proctor a go in Cape Town test. Says Cameron Kay. Yeah, I think there's only a couple changes that they need to make for New Zealand, but we are going to have our video coming out of our New Zealand as well as South Africa XVs for the next game. So they'll be coming out in the next couple days alongside our lineup predictions that we think the coaches will go with in the upcoming matches. Now Australia in possession, Hamish Stewart across to Taniela Tupou. It's as if Australia needed those 3 points scored against them for them to actually find that next gear, because now it seems like they've got a bit of attacking intent. Now nice run forward. Whatever happened to that girl on here that used to flirt with you so much? Which one? Oh, Chloe, okay. I was trying to be all cool and say which one, but yeah, Chloe was actually, I believe, a bloke. But we're not sure. She just hasn't really been on, but someone who has their male account always brings her up in regards of, like, he says Chloe says hi and whatnot, so I'm curious to know if it's actually a guy, but we probably think it is. Sander is basically a co-host at this point, says Donovan. Now going off to the left-hand side, Santiago Carreras cleans the ball up for Argentina. Now Bertrano, come back across. They'll just look to build this one out from inside of their 22. I also think that keeping the ABs out of the media all week was a good thing. There's a limit chats to the media. It keeps the players focused on the job at hand. And colour commentary says Sandor, and your coverage is more like 2 minutes delayed, says Farid. That's understandable, seeing as we're here in New Zealand. Normally we take a little bit longer because of like the time that it takes to get from Argentina to here. Marcos Crema. Oh, that's a rough pass, but it has gone into the hands of Gonzalo Berjano, who puts the kick in behind, chasing this one hard for the Argentines. A little bit of a slip and slide there for Tom Wright, who's only 5 metres out from the Aussie line. We've got a new member, Bill. Thank you very much, Bill. Hitting that membership button again. Now 5 metres out, Angus Bell. It's the ball up again, and there is the penalty to the Argentines for, I think that's a neck roll in the breakdown. And por favor, says Bureau. I know how to say that. I don't know what that means, though. Aussies don't have attacking composure. Another RG penalty. This will be a low-scoring game. The weather is real bad, says Cameron Kane. Looks like there might be a bit of an injury here for Hamish Stewart. We've got the face from Robert. And also modern defences just don't let side-to-side shoveling break them. Aussies have a way to go yet. And if it develops into a kicking game, then that's up Argentina's street. And a traditional or transition of leadership in the All Blacks will be crucial for the World Cup. Papali'i should still not on Kane's level. And yeah, like Sam Cane, I'll have to look through a lot of the stats again in terms of what happened throughout that first game, just because I did, of course, do the commentary, and sometimes you don't get the same feel for the game when you are talking through play-by-play. But I think Blackadder seemed very busy for New Zealand. I think we saw quite a bit of Savia, but couldn't quite get those crucial turnovers he was after. Sam Cane seemed busy as well. But yeah, I'll be interested to see some of the stats. Rolling maul here for Argentina as they look to march their way forward. The Pumas falling over the line, and it's the try for Argentina. Australia have conceded. And the first 15 minutes where it was all Australia for the first 10. It was the Argentina player who went down right at the kickoff. That was Pedro Rubiolo. But Juan Matan Gonzalez, the man who has scored this try. Try time, says Sander. We have there vamos Los Pumas. And Argentina scored a try from the line-out already, says Farid there. And if we had lost convincingly, there would be a lot to work on. But in the last 3 games, the world knows, says Mr. Orlin. And Argentina scored a try already, says Farid. But yeah, it's Juan Matan Gonzalez off that rolling maul. And first try of many to come, I think. And they're not lost, they know the way. Lovely. 10 seconds remaining for Santiago Carreras, who's currently sitting 1 from 1 now, makes it 2 from 2. And Argentina have now got themselves the 10-0 lead over the Australians. Your workhorse, bro. Keep up the good work, says a frog log. Thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated. Anyone who is new to the channel, of course, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We have got the Rugby Championship next week. We are going to be covering it on the channel as well. Marcos Crema, always fired up. But we're seeing Augustine Crevi on the sideline there. Massively fired up as well. How can you watch in the UK? I'm not actually too sure, to be honest. Oh, it's going to be the penalty against Marika Corambetti for tackling the player in the air. Looks like a little bit of push and shove there. Marika Corambetti getting fired up even though he was the one who infringed. Iha means friend of Maori, if you're unaware. I wasn't too sure, and I was worried I was going to mispronounce it a little bit. Like, my Maori, it's not quite as good as it should be. I don't think, playing the man in the air. Easy penalty against Marika, thanks, Jumbo. And Sky Sports in the UK and Ireland, says a Jimbo, and I agree, Mr. Orlin. Also, I'm curious to know what Perenara said to the group right before kickoff. Just poor taste from the DJ at the stadium, disrespecting the haka like that, poor taste, says Cameron K. And I could be on another account, but no, I'm not. It's up to you to believe that or not. Says a cool story, bro. Now it looks like it is going to be the line-out throw for Julian Montoya. Currently 2-1 line-outs for the Argentines, 1 lost. Thanks for the feed. Live commentary extends the pain for us, says Matty T. And now nicely claimed by Juan Matan Gonzalez, the try scorer for Argentina. Got a cheeky 15-point lead for Argentina in the first half for 5 times my money, lol. Your pronunciation is better than most, bro, especially the Pacifica names, says Frog Log. That is another penalty for Argentina. Australia just starting to become a little bit ill-disciplined here throughout the last 5 minutes or so. Third in the Rugby Championship, says Alan, not at the moment. They have got 5 points, so it does leave them still above Argentina. But if Argentina win this game, then we will see New Zealand drop to 3rd. Best player pronunciation in the game. Keep up the good work, says Donovan. Thank you very much, mate. Now kicking the one towards the touchline here, Argentina. They will be about 25 metres out from the line. Here comes Argentina's second try, says Farid. And yep, Aussie are cooked. I thought they put it together, not today, says Sand. Although, like, they have their moments, don't they, the Australians? Like, they had moments where they looked terrible up against Wales, but then they managed to fight back and still win those games. Can't wait until Australia. I think we can win at the moment, says Stephen. Now thrown in by Uri Montoya. Well claimed at the front for the Los Pumas line-out. That was high from Marika Corambetti. I always said that man's a couple inches off a card, and I think he's got himself one here. If they do, have a look at that one. Now off to the left-hand side, Joel Scalavi, sitting 15 metres out from the line. There's a little knock-on from the Argentines, and they will now have themselves the scrum, unless the TMO gets involved here. I think Marcos Crema is asking whether or not he was hit high from Marika Corambetti. They'll be having a look at this one. Did Corambetti bend at the hips? Nope. Head on head, turned to give him the shoulder as well. Commentators are saying that looks okay, but that's only because they're Australian. We're going to see the replay here. It's not good from Marika. I think he's going to be all right, though, by the sounds of it. I don't think they're going upstairs for this one. And people keep saying, why isn't Razor getting flack for performances? The same how Fozzie got it. Well, Fozzie had 2 years and didn't do anything. Razor has had 6 game lost 2. I really don't think New Zealand Rugby will step in, says Cameron Kay. Although I have seen, I honestly think, like, the criticism towards Razor, I think, has been more hostile than the criticism towards Foster. And I guess that is because Razor is quite a outspoken personality. You know, he will try and fire up the team, and in press conferences, you could say he sounds a little bit like, I don't want to say like cocky, but he's very confident in what he does, if that makes sense. Whereas Fozzie was kind of like, yeah, we kind of lost again, whoopsies. And everyone was like, Fozzie, you suck. But they were like, okay, but he seems like a nice bloke, so we won't completely crucify him. Sky TV, I'm watching it now, says Fleshin, Fozzie record not even bad. Yeah, he made it to the World Cup final, which a lot of people, I don't think, gave him enough credit for, because a lot of people felt like New Zealand would get knocked out in the quarters, if not beforehand, in that rugby. Well, the quarters, not beforehand. And no card, says Farid, that one's going to be kicked into touch by Australia, having to clear their lines again. New Zealand is just toxic on their coaches. This happens every time. They did this to Graham Henry too. Yeah, although it's not just New Zealand. The stuff that Jacques Naneba had to go through, is his name, I still can't say it properly, but the stuff he had to go through before that World Cup win was pretty disgusting. Like some of the comments you could see from a couple years ago, but luckily people seemed to slowly take a liking to him, and that helped him drastically in terms of his confidence and the way that his side played. Like, at the end of the day, if you've got a confident coach, normally you can have a confident team as well, because they're normally on the same page. But yeah, he was, it's similar to Jesse Creel. A couple of years ago, people gave Jesse Creel so much stick, and then all of a sudden now they're like, we can't take him out of the starting lineup because he's too good. But he almost wasn't given that opportunity. Now that's going to be a knock on, I believe, but it is going to be play on. Mateo Carreras now making his way forward. Going off to the left-hand side, Juan Mata Gonzalez. Almost able to bust through, but Lena Cattell has to make the tackle. 21 minutes through already. Argentina still with a very handy lead of the 10 points. Jake White had it rough. He still gets it rough. We saw what happened in that Champions Cup when he sent over the little bit of a weaker side and lost, and then didn't win the URC. He's had criticism ever since. Trouble is, they have set the high bar historically. A lot of room to move down, not a lot to move up. So here's Anthony. That one, struggling to find the touchline there. So Australia, once again, inside of their 22, in possession. Being told to not hold the player in the breakdown. Looks like Gordon will again go for the kick towards the touchline. I think Reza will turn or try to take a page out of Rassi's book and try to build something that will last, says VG Man. And people wanted Dave Rennie and that other Waikato guy instead of Razor. Can't remember the name, says Sandor. So I assume that's Clayton McMillan that you are talking. I agree, Hamish. Razor is cutthroat. He's very outspoken. Been lucky to have met him a few years back in South Africa. Really nice bloke. But yeah, he exudes confidence and people perceive it as arrogance. So here's Cameron Kay. Also, we have got there. South Africa gave Jake White heaps of stick and then sacked him after he came back with the World Cup. Says Sandor. Now going off to the right-hand side. Going down the wing. Oh, that's going to be a loose ball. The New Zealand crowd even set death threats to Fozzie. That's pretty insane. Once again, though, that is what Nene Bart, that is what we've seen Eddie Jones, that is what we see happening on a regular for referees. Like, yes, New Zealand can be guilty of it, but it's not just New Zealand in terms of rugby fans as a whole. You know, there was an Australian prosecuted for his death threat towards a referee last World Cup, I believe. That's just at G-Man. Nothing lasts. There's at least 10 players from South Africa that will retire before 2027. I have the stats. At least 675 cats of experience they will lose in the next 2 years. It's becoming common now, unfortunately. Yeah, I think people have become too comfortable with saying things online that they don't realize what kind of impact it will have, but they're just like, hey, I'll say it because I'm frustrated. But at the end of the day, like I said, the referees, they're humans too. The players are humans. They're going to make mistakes. You know, I trip over getting out of bed sometimes. Yet these players are playing on an international stage, and every once in a while they'll have a handling error. But, you know, it's unfortunate. You know? Hey, it's too small for international rugby. Maybe okay off the bench, says D-Funk. Now it's going to be a box kick again from the Australians, trying to get a little bit of territory going. Nicely taken, and that was another tackle in the air from Rob Valentini. I believe maybe they're saying he was just grounded in time. After coaching the Springboks, Peter de Villiers couldn't get a job anywhere. And enough people have had a punch in the face, to summarise a Mike Tyson quote. Nicely taken there by Tom right inside of the 22. He will call the mark. This game seems like we've had a little patch of 5 minutes where it's not really going anywhere. Both sides playing a bit of a kicking game. Argentina having more of the attack. Into the box, winning and give them the Freedom Cup. I don't believe so. I think they still need to win the second. I think if it's a drawn series, New Zealand retain because they hold the cup. I could be wrong there, though. Never too small, bud. I think Colby last night. Says Warren. Yeah, that was a tackle in the air on Santiago Carreras. And they must win both, says Cameron. Yeah, they've just said that he's probably a little bit lucky not to get done for what Marika Coronberry got done for just before when you're going to visit South Africa, Hamish. I don't think it will be too soon. Like, maybe the earliest I would say is 2026, if I'm lucky. But it's going to cost a lot of money, because if I was to go, I'd want to make it a worthwhile trip in terms of being able to go to all the different kind of stadiums, the big ones, Loftus, Cape Town, Ellis Park, and just kind of, sorry, I should say Durban as well before people get angry at me, but like just being able to have a bit more time over there to be able to really experience it rather than trying to fit everything that I want to do into like a week period. I remember Quade Cooper versus New Zealand, that hatred was something else. Says Red 7. Now it's going to be going into touch. And maybe 3.8 foot might be too small. Says, cool story, bro. Thank God for that. I thought for some reason it was like Ramphilly Shield. So home games put trophy up for grabs. And your Chloe could have a romantic time on South Africa. Happy to put you up for a week. Driving around Cape Town if you decide to visit. Says Cameron K. And yeah, I'll definitely have to let you guys know when I'm over there, because I've had quite a few Bry offers as well. Now it's going to be thrown in, nicely taken by Australia. Carlo Tazzano off the back for the Australians, sitting down Marcos Crema. That doesn't happen too often, but Valentini made it look easy. He's still a little bit slow getting back up as well, Crema, and they're going to go to his wing, or at least the side of the field that he's on. Tim from Egg Chasers in his 40s and has money. Hamish, a young fella. And yeah, Hamish, give Durban a skip, dude. And no offense taken, give Durban a pass. 10 metres out from the line now for Australia. Carlo Tazzano, all getting bent awkwardly there from Marcos Crema. Matt Fessler. Australia have just really struggled to make metres on attack. They need a few more men running through, a couple more dummies, just to get in there and try and create a little bit of unpredictability. Now, Matty Fessler again. Let's get tackled. They've got the penalty advantage at the moment for the Australians. Inside ball, Tom Wright finds the offloader, Jake Gordon, and they will score the try now for the Wallabies. You reckon Cruden playing NPC? So he's eligible for the ABs? I don't think that'll be his thinking. Like, yes, he'd like to play for the All Blacks again, but I do think that they won't give him that next chance. NPC as well is just, like, a lot of those older guys do love playing the NPC just because they get that feeling of competitive, like, counties rugby, if that makes sense. I think they were just checking that last pass from Tom Wright. Thank God Aussies managed to score a try first half. I was getting worried for them. There's Anthony there. That one has gone over, so now the score 10 points to 7 between these two sides. This year's NPC is exciting as, says Frog Log. And yeah, each game that you see, it just seems like there's, I wouldn't say a test match feel, but there's a bit of feeling in it, if that makes sense. Like, you've got that, like, I guess you could say regional pride that I think is shown more this year than maybe we've seen in past years. There's that kind of newfound feeling as well, seeing as Razor is the new coach. You've got these young guys in the NPC who want to prove themselves so that they get that opportunity now that they don't have the old coach there. Do you ever think New Zealand Rugby will change their policy around the overseas players? I think it will be a little while before they do, just because the reason that they do it is to try and keep players in New Zealand. And, drop ball from Harry Wilson, the knock-on from the Aussie skipper, and now gives Argentina another opportunity on attack. or about 20 metres out from their line. Now, what's better for South Africa? Australia winning this, right? It would be as an overall, if you're talking about the Rugby Championship, it would give them a bit more of a gap. And I don't think the domestic comp would die. Says Sandor. And kind of a shame what's happening to Australia Rugby. Can't see it ever really recovering either. Says David. Yeah, it is a mountain to climb. Like, they're going to lose more players, I believe, to league in the future. They're going to find themselves in some pretty tough places. But they've got a good enough team now that if they can put it together, they could actually find a little bit of success. But it just doesn't seem like it's anytime soon, if that makes sense. Like, I think we're going to be waiting a little while. New Zealand won't change the overseas eligibility selection. New Zealand is staunch as against letting overseas players in. So here's Red 7. And dude, will their Springboks versus All Blacks in Cape Town next weekend on SABC? I hope that they do. It hasn't been confirmed that they will, though, as of yet. I think that they decided to show this first one just because of the occasion, but I don't think they had it locked in for the second. So hopefully that changes and they do show it free to air in South Africa as well. What chances do Australia have against the Lions? Not very high at the moment, I would say. But who knows? Maybe by 2025 we'll see a little bit of an improvement for the Aussies. On the side of the breakdown, going to be Pablo Matera with the ball in hand. Has gone down. Bertrano, the ball is available for him. The right-hand side now. Joel Scalavi, sitting about 25 or probably 20 metres out. Speaking of 20, the number 20, Thomas Lavanini, came on the field after only a few seconds. Australia trying to get the turnover in the breakdown. I believe it's Taniela Tupou. He's got his hands on the ball, and referee, I think he said that he wasn't on it. Santiago Chochabarez, a couple decent games up against New Zealand. Definitely that first one. Bertrano back across to Franco Molina. He played in the first game, but not the second. Rugby League pays a lot better than Union, says Cameron Kay. And this is where Australia can start to improve. Depending on position, Rugby League has salary cap, says Sandor. Now big shot coming in from Angus Bell, taking out the knees of Crema. Now again, Gonzalo Bertrano going across to Juan Martin Gonzalez. Now to the right-hand side, change of direction. Santiago Carreras is something that Australia should be trying in this game, throwing something different. As the ref for Kiwi, he is indeed. I think Ben O'Keefe is on the touch line as well. And then I'm not too sure about the other referees in charge of this one, but James Dolman, he is a New Zealand referee. And Welsh Rugby is in the same mess as Aussies. Welsh Rugby, World Rugby need to get their stuff together. Now short ball, drop ball though. They will go back for the penalty, and this will be an opportunity again for Argentina to have their kick at the post. What team do you support? Says Ali, we're pretty impartial, or at least we try to be throughout these streams. In this case, I just hope that we have a decent second half between these two sides, mainly because of the wet conditions. It makes it very tricky. There's a shame as the Welsh rugby mad. I need someone to help. Please help me, says Bureau. I haven't actually worked out what you are asking, Bureau, unfortunately, because I do not speak Spanish. Just stop tugging it, mate, says Anthony. That's a shame as the Welsh are rugby mad, says Sandor. Yeah, I still feel like you can't beat a Welsh national anthem in the Principality. Hamish is an AB's man to the bone. He hides it pretty well, says Sandor. Now Santiago Carreras to line up this kick. He is 2 from 2 at the moment. Okay, the shot clock is incorrect. He has 30 seconds. James Dolman has just reiterated to the Australians. And it looks like he's going to try and use up as much time as he can. Okay, there was a miscommunication there. James Dolman just said that the shot clock was wrong. He has 30 seconds. Australia charged it down. Okay. Okay, so the Australians were waving their arms because the shot clock at the ground was wrong. Now, Santiago Carreras actually still got that kick over. So he does still have another chance of lining up this kick now. He'll probably have another 60 seconds. I heard that nights out in Cardiff after the match are epic. Says Darren, correction. He doesn't let it interfere with his commentary. Says Sandor. Be a chance for Carreras to extend the lead to 6 points for Argentina. This first half has gone quite quickly. I found the first 20 minutes, though, was probably quicker than the last 13. But I think that is because the first 20 we had a lot more free-flowing rugby, whereas now we've had a few more stoppages, a few more penalties. Now Santiago Carreras. This should be a nice, easy one. Are there no mods? So here's Gus in there as well. I don't think we got too many on at the moment. I was still trying to work out what he said. I was waiting to see if he was going to say it in English so I could actually respond. I can never understand why they can't stop the clock on penalties. It's actually a really good point. And it's a point that not many people make. I know that some people feel that they should do it on scrums as well, to stop the clock and then start it back up when the scrum takes place. I guess it's to try and keep the game quicker. Maybe, of course, there's a Gus. We watch from the bushes. Says, of course there are, I should say. From Kerr. Welcome back, Kerr. I know that you said earlier on that you were going to pop away for 5 minutes, and I'm not sure whether or not you came back, mainly because once you left, it was as if like 1,000 people showed up. It was as if you were like, sorry, I'll just go get my friends, and then you had 1,000. But yeah, hope you are enjoying your URC winnings. I love to watch the rugby game, not broadcasting on YouTube. Says Ali. And speaking of scrums, how good is the lack of resets these days? Yeah, it has helped a lot in terms of speeding up the scrums as they take place. Now it's going to be kicked in behind. Yeah, I was back. Went to get some viewers. Says Kerr. Now Argentina again have got themselves the possession. You are funny. That's a good thing, isn't it? Because I know that the part itself is not a good thing, but when you partner it with funny, that's good. So I'll take it. Thank you, VG man. Why kick away? Gordon says, oh yeah, it seems like Australia aren't willing to run this ball enough throughout the first half. In Argentina, they certainly have been, and they are now doing it again. Pass out wide from Juan Cruz Malia. Pearson run from Lucio Cinti. Now Shoja Barres puts the kick in behind, and it does go into touch. The IRB is also thinking of introducing a no-tackle law for all age groups up to 15 years old due to all the injuries to young players. Says Cameron Kay. And I agree about pausing on the scrums. Too much resetting nowadays, says Anthony Walsh. And where were they, Kerr? Says Jimbo. There as well, about 4 minutes remaining. Australia are going to have themselves the line out. Who plays worse rugby, Wales or Australia? Ooh. It's a tricky one because I also do think that both of them are in a tough patch, but hopefully they both make their way out of it. Lucan Salakai Lotto takes it well. Gordon, cross to Valentini. And a no tackle law, hiding in the wrong bush, says Kerr. Nicely taken on the halfway line. Going off to the right-hand side, Mateo Carreras almost going through. Bell over the ball, and he wins the penalty for Australia. ABs will turn to, because next team won't be able to tackle, says Froglog. I think that was the Irish rugby board, though, not New Zealand. What do you think of the AB scrum? Do you think Tamaiti Williams will keep a spot for next week? I think he will, because Ethan de Groot is injured at the moment, so it only leaves you off for Toinga Fasi. And I think that man got a little bit more criticism than he deserved from that last game. Yes, he got the yellow card, and New Zealand, it cost him quite a bit, but Sama Penny Finau, I think, was just as poor when it came to that rolling maul. If not, it was almost, I thought, worse than off Toinga Fasi's. It's just the fact that off Toinga Fasi, it was so close to the line that it was a pretty tricky one. No one plays worse than us, bro. I know that's good then, says Frog Log. And there as well, but now Australia have managed to claim the line out. There is an advantage in favour of the Wallabies yet again. Angus Bell, he was able to win himself that turnover, now gets the chance to run the ball forward. Can the Aussies take the lead by the end of this half? Hamish Stewart, nice run forward, gets through one tackle but doesn't manage to get through the second. Both countries are suffering at roots level. I think there is an easy way back. And turn to what, Hamish? Turn to what? What did I say? I say a lot of words, and to be honest, I forget half of them, so you might have to remind me. And they might need to incorporate Australia into the NPC, like they floated years ago, although they have got quite a few Australian players in the Bunnings NPC. Avies would have won if Roygaard was there, just saying. Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Roygaard back, because I just feel like he's going to offer a lot. Like Cortez Ratama, to be fair, didn't have the best game off the bench, the youngster. And Perenara, he also didn't have the best game starting, but it's going to be interesting to see how he slots back into the side. And I think he's almost going to be available in November. That is going to be a loose ball. Australia managing to claim it 40 metres out. Nick Frost knocks it on, and they'll go back for the penalty again. The outside backs did really well. Their size, pace, and physicality really test the box, says Cameron Kay. And our subs are bloody bad, man, off his bastard. Why not give that massive Kane's hooker a go? Letting the point, letting that lead or point lead go. I was gutting to witness. Now we all put up with South Africans chirping all week. There's Josh. But yeah, like, it's a tricky one because there's little things that the All Blacks, I believe, should have done differently. And I honestly think that the selection of their bench is also something that they could have looked at changing, because that's one of the big problems with putting all your experience in the starting lineup is you leave your bench with nothing. When you get to the later stages, you're up on the scaff tomorrow, bro. I had to really process what you meant for a second, but I don't think we're doing anything with a scaffold tomorrow. I think it is instead a deck. So that's not too bad. That's just the thing, Kerr. They need to blood the talent so that when the replacements come on, it doesn't impact the game plan. Too much the AB subs didn't have an impact, and TG is just done now. Stand now with dignity intact. Happens time and time again. They continue long past best before date. That one. Oh, okay. Australia, the opportunity to add the 3, and they've actually missed that kick, ladies and gentlemen. So half-time in this contest, it is 13 points to 7. You speak in riddles like Gandalf? I'll take it, I guess. And maybe an okay is something many would disagree with. But yes, I am well, thanks, says Kerr. Now, it's going to be half-time in this contest, 13 points to 7. It's about the score that we would be expecting for a game that is heavily affected by rain. Rassi developed a 23-man team, not a 15-man team. That's why he has an edge on everyone else, says Cameron Kay. For us Aussies, rugby barely in the top 10 sports here. No grassroots, barely on free-to-air. Kids couldn't name one Wallaby, says Matty T. Rassi has what Razor wants, players that can play multiple positions, says Warren. Yeah, like, a lot is made of versatility, but it's one thing to play a lot of positions, but it's another to play a lot of positions well. That was a riddle, just like you said about me talking them earlier on, VG man. But yeah, like Quagga Smith, there aren't many players in the world of rugby that can actually do better off the bench than they can in a starting lineup. But he's one of them, and he just changes the game. My first is in windmill, but not in canoe. My first is in windmill, but not in canoe. What am I? My first is in windmill. My brain can't handle that first. My first is in windmill, but not in canoe. Wind. No, sorry, that's probably very wrong. I don't know why I felt like I was right there. I got all confident, and then I realised I was nowhere near it. Well, I said Hamish is one thing to have depth, but another to have depth that can impact the game, says Cameron Kay. On a different topic, I hear a lot of Kiwis are leaving New Zealand. Why, says Kwasi? A lot of New Zealanders are going to Australia. It works out that a lot of jobs in Australia are actually more financially beneficial than here in New Zealand. Like, you can end up making an extra $20,000 a year for being over there, so that is why a lot of people do decide to make that jump. Rainfather, if you've ever read one, says Frog Log. Eating cold pizza for breakfast, left over from last night. Yum. One moment, we will go like this. I just want to see how the odds are sitting for this game. There we go. So at the moment, Argentina are favourites, which can be expected. Higher salaries, but cost of living's higher, says Dylan Unicorn, so there are no jobs in New Zealand, Hamish. I didn't say that, it's just that they don't pay as much. But there are a lot more jobs that are becoming redundant here in New Zealand. I'm scheduling myself back down New Zealand end of January, start of Feb, FYI, Hamish. We have to, is that South Island or North Island, Kerr? We have to do cruise ship 2.0, perhaps. Which will be an interesting one. That's the thing. We didn't even, like, we went round the cruise ship, but we didn't actually probably see everything, did we? But we still saw some pretty awesome stuff. Like, my parents still talk about the big room where they had all the buttons, which I don't know the names of. And jobs, what Hamish, what is becoming redundant, says Cameron K. So we're seeing a lot less, like, jobs in hospitals. Like, I think they've just had a big layoff of people working in hospitals. We're seeing a lot less jobs when it comes to, like, the customer service side of things. We're seeing lawyers not really needed as much. We're seeing a lot of, like, political jobs have been given up. South Twice, both newer ships. We might have to try and sync the schedules, perhaps. Like, what jobs? Oh no, I read that one. I have been to Cardiff many times. The atmosphere is awesome, and the singing is outstanding. England versus Wales is exciting, always exciting game. If anyone gets a chance, go. You will. Love, says Stephen. Is the north or the south the richest places in New Zealand? So Auckland is definitely one of the more expensive places to live. Alongside, I think it's Rotorua is also a little bit up there. So I'd say probably North Island. South Twice. More strippers are required though, says Kerr. And job sector's booming in New Zealand. Like, not really, to be honest. Like, there probably are, but I just don't know them because I'm not very smart. But, like, yeah, it's a tricky one. Can easily double your pay in Australia. Supermarket workers around $40 an hour. Says Warren. Aussie checks are very average, wouldn't waste my time, says VG Man, and virtually all public servants, apart from police, have had massive cuts. And I think even police have had cuts here in New Zealand in terms of the amount of jobs. Rassie is like a magician. The first two scrums look like the All Blacks were dominating. They fall into Rassie's trap. Next scrum, South Africa penalty. And Wellington, bloody hell, it's pretty bad here. Says Red 7, as a gent born in South Africa, whose ancestry is Scottish, I prefer South Africa over any UK country. Got kicked out of school at 15 years. No idea how I am where I am now. Says Q. You must have had, your brain must have had goodness in the right places. I was not kicked out of school at 15, believe it or not, even though I made a sentence like that. And we need to get you a South African girlfriend, says Donovan Hartel. And the scrum changed when Etzebeth Quagga came on. Other than that, the AB's dominated, says Cameron K. They're just showing the highlights. We're seeing a lot of kicking meters so far between these two sides. Tom Wright setting up that first try to Jake Gordon. We did see the try also scored, though, by Argentina with Juan Cruz Malia. Today is the day of mourning in New Zealand. The whole country is a ghost town, and absolutely not. My brain is already halfway to hell, says Kerr. Traffic control is in New Zealand now, the land of the long line of road cones, says Warren. Mate, we will go like this. And we will go, I like that as well. And we have got the kick, gave Kerr a concussion, says RJJ. What was the answer to your riddle, Kerr? Do let me know. I never got the answer because it was something about windmills, wasn't it? And redundant means the position doesn't exist anymore, like a company might lose a contract and might have the need for some staff anymore, says D-Funk. If it wasn't for the URC, I'd be poor, says Kerr there. New Zealand has Grimosh, it does. And no one shops in Wellington Central, all thanks to the Mayor. When are you dropping more cricket content with the GoPro? I have it all built up. I just haven't actually released any of it. Like, I have like 15 games that I've played in. But for some reason, they're always the one that gets put on the back seat or put on the to-do later list. But yeah, eventually I'm going to sit down and I'm just going to go through all of them. And I will end up being able to release them all. But yeah, we've got a whole season. I've got to decide what I'm doing this year for cricket. I've got to decide if I'm going up a grade or whether I'm staying in the same one. Some decisions to be made. Currently 6 points difference between these two sides. 13 points to 7. He's got lots of makeup on Sandor. Come on, Hamish, we need to get you to 100k, says Cameron K. And there's, I've been given a gift, ladies and gentlemen. I left it on the floor in my room, but I wanted to show you so you know that my money is going in the right direction. So pretty much, you guys have always talked about me getting a fancy tie, and I don't know why I did this. It didn't seem like a good idea at the time. It still doesn't seem like a good idea. But I got a tie that it doesn't actually have its strap to tie it up. But there we go. Ladies and gentlemen, the tie. And also, it lights up, ladies and gentlemen. This is why I should not be in charge of any sort of finances. This right here. Impulse purchase. It was. I saw it and I was like, ooh, it lights up. But yeah, it doesn't even have anything to, like, it doesn't have a strap. You know, I might be able to get away with sticking it down my shirt and trying to. Boy, we have fun, don't we? You don't look at the mantelpiece when you're stoking the fire. Or stoking the fire, sorry. Sandor. It was just a joke riddle, not a real one. But I'll give a real one. I lost my head every morning. But get it back each night. What am I? It's your head each morning. I'm going to turn off this. I'm going to have it like that. That's a bit of fun, isn't it? Lose your head every morning, but you get it back every night. Nah, riddles aren't my forte, I don't think. Apparently, the tech and renewable energy sectors are growing rapidly in New Zealand, says Dylan. Is that a clip-on? It is a clip-on, yes. It's ridiculous. Take it back. Classy brother, says Froglog. And it doesn't even look like a tie, though, does it? It just looks like I've got a weird thing. Pillow. And then Reds, of course, heard head each morning and got a bit excited. The Bangladesh shopkeeper was playing cricket at 2 in the morning with friends. I wish I was that cool. Says cool story, bro. But the second half of this contest, not too far away, ladies and gentlemen, from getting underway. It's sitting far too high. There we go. That's a little bit better. What a great purchase. You know. OnlyFans ties, says Darren. And also the big eyes from VG Man in there. But they are just showing some of the highlights of the Rugby Championship from the past. Of course, we still have 3 more games happening of the Rugby Championship. I'll post it when I stop home next week. Hopefully you have occasion to wear it, says Kerr. Wait, I actually have a tie I need to post to you. There's yellow in it. It's a club tie from my rugby club at home. If it's got yellow, I am extremely keen. Money not well spent, Hamish, says VG Man. We have good there, Hamish. If people sent you stuff, would you wear it in your streams? Depends on what it is. Like, maybe, though. It just depends. Because, like, if someone sends me, like, a massive, like, big hat, I probably won't wear it on the stream because I still have my headphones. That's slowly falling down. I think this tie is only going to be a half-time thing. And then second half, turn the second light off, or turn the light off. There you go. How do we send you stuff? To be honest, I don't know. Like, I've given my address to only a couple people, mainly the ones that I've met in real life, but maybe we need to get like a PO box or something in the future. I don't think there'd be enough people who want to send me stuff, though, to warrant getting a PO box. Wholesome, says Red. And we'll see a polka dot G-string. And don't you think these Aussie commentators have no energy, uncharismatic? They sound like they don't want to be there. It's normally just because Australia are losing. This just won't stay up, will it? Unfortunately. Should do roaming your neighbourhood street asking questions. Maybe you'll drive traffic to your channel. Says Cameron K. Yeah, although my streets, or like my town's very small. I might be able to get things sent to your local post office. Says Defunk. And what's with the Cape Town pick behind you? A Signal Hill and the Greenpoint Stadium. Haha. I just like the look of it, to be honest. Ask your mum to wear the tie next time she's on. Says VG Man. And when's the second half? We are still probably about 3 or 4 minutes away from the second half of this contest. But we're getting closer, and I'm looking forward to the second 40 minutes. The rain, I think it looked heavier at the start of the game, although looking at it in the background now, it is pouring down. Please do the second half with the tie light on and switch off your room lights, says Darren. I don't know which town you're in. I see 200k views on your ABs. South Africa one. Says Froglog. Yeah, we had a huge amount of support on that live stream, and I didn't actually anticipate it because, like, I thought a lot more people would be watching on SABC, but we actually still had a lot of people tuning in for those ones. It's just not a good purchase, but it makes me smile. That's the main thing, isn't it? It just won't stay, though, is the only problem. It's too heavy. There we go. We'll put it there like that. It's almost. And is Australia playing okay? They've had their moments, but at the same time, it just seems like they haven't found their full rhythm in this contest. 13 points to 7. They've scored 1 try. Where's your shirt? Like my dress shirt, it is currently in a washing basket. As long as you're happy with the purchase, that's all that counts, says Cameron K. Tell it assertively to stay. I don't really do assertiveness very well, I'll be honest. People could send stuff to a post shop, Z Station, says Red 7. And we've also got there, when we're going to rematch that penalty kick shootout. Oh, the one with my mum. I'm surprised people even remember that. But maybe one day. I don't know if my knees still work. I haven't actually run since cricket, which was like 6 months ago. So I might pull something. Can you explain the long term or the term up the guts? I hear a lot of New Zealand and Aussie pundits saying it, but it always sounded wrong. Yeah, it does sound a bit sexual, doesn't it? But pretty much up the guts is the equivalent of run it straight G, is another way that you could put it. But pretty much up the guts means just straight up the middle. So, you know, it's a bit of a weird lingo, but it does make sense in some regards. Just straightforward, straight on, run it straight, that type of thing. Up the middle, smash into them, says Sandor. And maybe this is what the Wallabies need to lose all their games, says Cameron K. And up the middle, smash into it, says Sandor. And up the guts, it's from the first and second receiver, says Red 7. Yeah, it's also normally, like you said, that first channel running the ball up the middle. Smash their back doors, and that sounds a little bit worse than up the guts, I would say. So what does that one mean? It's kicked off for the second half now. Argentina have managed to retain their kick. Australia not able to line up that ball up the jersey here, says Jimbo. How do you rate Rico's performance today? It was better, but it still wasn't quite there, I don't think. Unfortunately. Santiago Carreras now going off to Gonzalo Burrano. Ended up with a bit of accidental obstruction there, but I think they're saying Pablo Matera was pushed into it, so it is all right. Up the gut sounds like picking up your confidence. Says, cool story, bro. Looks like the rain has stopped a little bit. Reflecting trees has head forward. Call for up the guts was Bulldog, says Froglog. Now back across Bertrano, going to Santiago Chochabarez. A good start to this half for the Argentines. Managed to some good possession throughout the game. Do you think Proctor would have been a better impact if he replaces Rico? I think he would if they had given him a couple more games, because we saw what he did up against Fiji, and yes, playing Fiji is quite different to playing South Africa, but off the season that he had in Super Rugby, like, you're looking at a guy who scored tries compared to Rico, who hasn't scored a try in over 400 days in terms of Super Rugby, and also hasn't scored this year for the All Blacks. So, you know, there's a big difference at the moment. Nice quick ball, says Sandor, though they have now lost it here, the Australians. Looking to kick it towards the touchline as Noel Alessio. Oh, jumping into touch there with the ball was Argentina. Now Corumbetti going across the hands of Santiago Cordero, who is on the short side. Oh, we'll go like this. There we go. Currently the odds in this contest, Argentina, they are still favourites, and they are considered to win this game by actually a bigger margin than they currently are. That gives them a lot of confidence as they move forward. Now, it's going to be a nice pass. It still looks all right. Now, Julio Montoya going across to Gasho. Now, it's going to be the knock-on from the Australians. It looks like there's a bit of an injury here for Argentina as well. Thomas Lavanini taking some deep breaths. Marcos Crema, we haven't seen too much of him in the last little while. Juan Cruz Malia, he almost got that wrong. Actually slipped into touch, but still took it just before they went out. There's a big shot coming in on Pablo Matera. Definitely a lot of physicality that has been shown throughout this game. And Argentina playing at good speed despite conditions, says Sandor. And they're sucking Aussie in. The overlap is coming. And they only have Cotton Betty as world class. And yeah, he's only one big decision away from getting himself yellow carded, isn't he? I should mention, ladies and gentlemen, I have had the light turned off in this room, which does mean at the end of the game, we are going to be doing our light up tie in pure darkness. Just sounds like a good idea, doesn't it? 92 days till the birthday special. It's not only 92 days to my birthday. I can't believe we're in September already. Now, for some of you, of course, you're not quite in September. Us here in New Zealand, though, we are, in fact, in September, and it doesn't feel like this year has been so fast. That wasn't a sentence. Light up the guitar, or light up tie and guitar, please. Host, did you dye your hair? I did not. I just had the light turned off, so now it looks a little bit darker, doesn't it? Why does the previous ABs not help out? Like McCaw, Carter, Mialamu, Whitelock, like attend training sessions, give their insights, pass on rugby knowledge. I think that some of them do. Not so much Dan Carter and Richie McCaw. They're more moved on from it. But Whitelock, I would assume, would have been in chats with the team a little bit. September started 16 minutes ago. Says Jimbo, it's a Monday though, so no games, lol. Says Kerr there as well. Ooh, it's a big weekend beforehand. Possibly. In fact, actually, we will have some games on my birthday. We'll have the Dubai Sevens, I believe, is the one that takes place on the weekend of my birthday, or Cape Town Sevens, one of those two. I've been in September for over an hour. And the win again in the breakdown for Argentina, getting the penalty, and now 36 minutes remaining. Is it Monday in New Zealand, Hamish? It is not, no. It is currently Sunday, 11:16 a.m. Didn't Carter take up cross-country running or hiking or so? I think Richie McCaw's done a few Ironmans, if that is who you're talking about. Do you know if anybody has done a welfare check on Tony from Distracted Sports? He will be hurting. Says Sandor. Yeah, he won't be happy. That's for sure. It would have been very risky to get him on for a post-match interview. I feel like that would have been a risk. That was too great, but that one has gone over for Argentina, so now they are going to be sitting with the lead of 16 points to 7 ahead of the Australians by 9 points at the moment. Carter visited the AB's camp to train McKenzie, I think, and Aussie media going to crucify them after this performance, says Darren. Yeah, it just hasn't really been their best. The first 10 minutes, they look great, but unfortunately, that is about all that we've seen for this for this Australian team. It was McCaw who slimmed down a lot. Says Anthony, and do you think will the All Blacks win next week? The good news is they were at least very competitive in that first game. So, you know, I honestly think that they've got a really good chance. I think that South Africa will have to make a big decision of whether or not they want to rotate their players or whether they want to go with, once again, that really strong lineup to try and make it 2 from 2 and secure the Rugby Championship. Why is Peter Feta not in the training group in South Africa? They need to develop him as well. He has got an injury at the moment. Oh, that's a good shot from Angus Bell, putting it in the midsection of Argentina. I think there was a knock on. Australia get the turnover, though. And now an opportunity on the counter-attack. Jake Gordon going across there. Andrew Callaway goes to Tom Wright. Grubber in behind. And Corambetti chasing after it. It's going to be taken back by Argentina. 5-minute scrum now for the Wallabies. A lot better in that moment. Australia shouldn't be too bothered about this. They need to focus on their development. Argentina is really competitive. ABs are no chance next week, but there will be long odds at the TAB with the pump for sure. AB's team next year will look completely different. Only Caleb Clark will survive in the current position in the back line, with new loose forwards also coming in. I think the last 7 tries, South Africa got 1 on the wing, not complaining though. Although Kurtley Ardenser, of course, getting 2 up against the Australians, didn't he? But since then, South Africa getting quite a few tries. That was better. Says Sandor, and Rassi will pick a second team next week. Nothing to lose. Says Farid. And another riddle. What's get bigger the more you take away? Somewhat Frog Logs got it. I was gonna go in the wrong direction. Completely. For that one. And Colby C and Ardenser will be out. So they will have to make changes. Also, Etzebeth didn't want to take any contact in the last 10 minutes of the game. So he could also be injured, says Cameron. So is Chislin Colby also injured alongside Kurtley Ardenser? They're on the short side and they have blown it again, Australia. looking for the rolling maul, and they end up getting driven into touch. No South Africa wants 4 defeats, and if the All Blacks in a row, no B team, says Sandor, getting anxious about the Tights in the game. And yes, Hamish, he has a concussion, says Cameron Kay. Okay, so they got Colby with a concussion and Kirtley. So yeah, 2 changes out on the wing. I'd say that that's a nice, easy change. Moody and also Mapimpi will be the wingers then, if that is the case. I think if South Africa win next week, it will be 4 in a row victories versus New Zealand, which is a record. So they'll pick a strong team, says Darren. That is correct. The last time they had 3 wins in a row was 2009. Now they've got the opportunity to make it 4. Rassi won't want to fall into second in the world rankings. He'll go strong again. Says a Jimbo. Nicely claimed by Argentina. Only 5 metres out from the line. Pablo Matera tackled by Marika Corumbeti. Damn, both wingers isn't grade 1. Okay. Says Sandor. Alan Alatoa, he has been subbed on to the field. That is for Taniela Tupai. I thought South Africa had a 6-win streak in the 40s. It might be of the modern era then, if that is the case. I'll line out for Australia yet again here. They just need something. There's that X factor that's missing, I would say. At the moment, this is also the first time in 10 years South Africa has won at Ellis Park, which is really weird, says Cameron Kay. Well, it's the first time in the last 6, I believe, in South Africa that South Africa have actually won, or they've won 1 of the last 6, I believe it is, against the All Blacks. Argentina once again find themselves defending. They made a massive amount of tackles in the first game up against the All Blacks, over 180. Khaleesi being injured is better for South Africa, as Khaleesi is a passenger versus Ireland, and New Zealand, the South Africa team, always behind when he's on the pitch. There's Power Bite, nice pass out wide for the Aussies. Gordon goes back across to the right-hand side. Noralesio finds Alan Alatoa yet again. The one against other teams. Says Sandor. Now another step. Ikatel gets through one, gets the offload to Corumbeti. 10 metres out from the line. They've got the forward momentum, but can they make the most of it here, the Wallabies? 3 metres from the line. Jeremy Williams plays halfback. Goes off to Carlo, to Zano. Bell going across to Rob Bellatini. The big man's over. And Australia now back into this game. Australia scored try. Says the name that I still don't know how to say. Mile forward, says Sandor. Reverts for the uninitiated. And Ballatini says Straw, and Bobby V says Annoy, but good run forward from Marika Corumbeti. Also, Lena Cattell created that move in the way that he was able to push his way forward. Then the finish at the end. Rob Ballatini to then score the try. And Mrs. Hounding me to mow the lawn, so I'm going to take off. Have a good rest of your Sunday. Cheers, cheers, and cheers, bro. Says Froglog. Well, thank you very much for being here for these live streams. Greatly appreciated. Hopefully the lawn does look pristine by the end of it. That kick has gone over. Play nice or F off, says VG, man. Come on, Australia. Yeah, got their South African depth has talent, but the talent lacks experience. They were under the pump for 70 minutes, and New Zealand lacked the mental focus. Also, Razor bringing his replacements on at 65, 68 minutes cost them the game, in my opinion. Although, was that also the factor of Razor wanted to make those subs as late as he could because he knew that that would hurt them? That could have been that more so than, like, the other side of things. I think I might also be doing the 2025 Lions tour, waiting on approval from accounting department. The wife, says Kerr. That'd be a pretty awesome one. Like, I know that Australia might not be as competitive as people want to see them in that game or in that series, but the Lions tour is always still an atmosphere and a half, isn't it, to be able to attend. So hopefully you do get it approved by the accounting side of things. She got a Louis Vuitton bag and a Mercedes AMG for her birthday, so should be approved. I'd like to think so. It's quite the birthday gift, isn't it? A Mercedes AMG is a vehicle, isn't it? Just to clarify. South Africa depth has talent, but the talent lacks experience. I saw a bright yellow car the other day that I was keen on getting, but then I realised I do not have the funds to do so. So my accounting normally is the case of I look at the bank account and go, no, okay, we'll buy a bloody light-up tie instead. But look at it go. Isn't it lovely? It's much cheaper than a vehicle. Woohoo! Having a party. I'm home alone at the moment. Everyone's left. They've gone golfing without me. I agree with that, Hamish, and also Mackenzie not taking the points. Barrett should have. Points to the posters, or pointed to the posts. Keep the lead at 10 points. Fallen asleep here, got them Australians, a really boring team. And this game is like South Park when Timmy fights Jimmy. Perfect tie, Hamish says red 7. And that's just a weekend in Singapore, Kerr. Incorrect. South Africa wrestled the momentum back from New Zealand, thanks to New Zealand's mistakes. You must be on drugs, says VG Man. Believe it or not, I'm not. But people don't often believe it. I think my sleep deprivation is my dopamine, as they say. What some countries don't know is that in South Africa, you can get 25,000 watching big high school rugby matches on Los Pumas. It's Mercedes' first attempt at a game console. Says, cool story, bro. And South Africans love schoolboy rugby. It's huge. Says Sandor there as well. The penalty does go the way of the Australians. Buenos Aires, it is 11.7 degrees Celsius. And hi from Hong Kong, says Eric. Welcome in. Hope you are keeping well in Hong Kong. Not a bad, really bad time, actually, for you in terms of the Hong Kong time zone, I believe. I think you're sitting at about maybe 5 a.m. or somewhere around there, Eric, maybe a little bit later. So hopefully you are enjoying your early morning. Australia over the ball in the breakdown, and they will win another penalty. Carlo Tizzano, though, taking the risk, reaping the reward. Currently Australia, there's some momentum 4 hours later than New Zealand. I think I'm in Germany. You think you're in... What do you mean you think? Like you haven't looked outside yet? Or that you decided you're going to take a trip to Germany? Quite nice in Germany, I believe. Who will commentate the game next weekend in Cape Town, Box versus the All Blacks? Me, I believe. And 7:27 a.m. Okay, that's not too bad then. That's not as bad as I thought it was. But still quite an early start for yourself. You fell asleep on a boat, says Anthony. And finish off Argentina for us, Australia. Now the rolling ball again for Australia. Currently going backwards. So James Tolman tells them to use it once. Here comes Linikatau again. He's busted the second half open with the way he's been running the ball. Here comes Harry Wilson. Runs straight at the number 18. Now Alalatoa. Oh, it's a drop ball from Hamish Stewart. I'm not too sure. It could be in Denmark today and Germany tomorrow. Or maybe other way around, says Kerr. Must be nice. Is it winter in Germany at the moment, or is it might be summer, is it? Or just into either autumn or spring. I've just said all four, so it's got to be one of them. I'm going to be right in some regard. Hong Kong is 7:27 a.m. Prediction for the final score. I can see Australia getting back into this a little bit. Argentina haven't looked as strong throughout the second half, so I wouldn't be surprised if Australia can score themselves another try soon. Looks like some subs are being made for both of these sides. Autumn, and it's not warm, says Kerr. And then at 11:28 on New Zealand, we are in the future, says Sandor. Up the guts, says Dylan. But yeah, some great running from Linikatau in the second half. He was one of the main reasons that Australia scored that first try of the second half. And it's summer in Germany, says James Kane. And 22-24, says David, as the end score prediction. You didn't answer the question, says VG Man. Yeah, I didn't, did I? I just said that I thought Australia would get in the lead. See what I meant earlier on when someone was like, you could be a politician? But I would say if I had to predict an end score, I think that the score is going to be 19-24 in favour of Australia. Back home next week and then away to the Caribbean for 2 weeks before Dubai. You're just very busy, aren't you? Like, in terms of, like, yes, it's travelling, and I'm sure you get to see a lot, but you must get to that stage here you're like, I've seen so much, and now I just want to lie in a bed for a while. You know? Big call, says Sandor and V-Man. It was a big call, wasn't it? We have got there Australia winning by 1 try, says Red 7. And 14-34 in favour of the Pumas. Also, you're saying the Pumas put on an onslaught in the last 24 and get themselves the big win in the end. Bertrano ready to feed this ball in again. We've had a lot of the same in this game. It's been the scrums, then a couple hit-ups, then a kick, and then a scrum. Now, 23 minutes left to 28-17, the Panthers to win, says Kerr. And Kerr, we're in the Caribbean, says Peter Wild. Ball fed in, 20 metres out from their own line at the moment, Argentina, so looking to clear their lines. Gonzalo Bertrano does get it into touch, maybe didn't quite create the angle that he was after, so they'll only be about 20 metres out. And Panthers are saying NRL, bro, says Sandor. And where the AB's robbed today, I went to look it up on YouTube. PC acting the GOAT, says Dennis. They had enough chances, I would say, the All Blacks to win that game, but yes, there was some controversy. But at the end of the day, like, they had ill discipline throughout the game, which I think was the thing that eventually cost them. What date will the Springboks take on Argentina? And we will be playing, dude. So we actually have all the games here. So that will actually be a Saturday for you guys in South Africa, 11 p.m. And then also this one is going to be Saturday, 28th of September at 6 p.m. South African time. These times are all New Zealand. Penalty again goes the way of the Australians. So this could be their opportunity to take the 3. And that would actually give them the lead in this contest. They would be up 17 points to 16. But they do have to get this one over. That is the first step. Not this year, Bulldogs or maybe Dolphins. Wouldn't that be massive? You'll come to learn. Panthers always win, always. Is it cold in your city now, Hamish? It's currently 17 degrees, believe it or not. It was like 5 overnight, but now it's 17. It's going to be a beautiful day. Might have to head to the golf course myself after this. If I am still awake, that is. I'll probably fall asleep straight afterwards. And thank you, says Ali. No worries at all. Outsmarted, says Sandor. And Aussies are back in this game proper, says Farid. And yeah, now a chance for Noel Lolesio, who the FR Bulldogs and Dolphins, says Kerr. Is there a team called the Hippos? There is, isn't there? In England, for rugby league, I think they have a team called the Hippos. We learned a lot of Hippo facts last year. Fun fact, ladies and gentlemen. But that kick has gone over from Noel Lolesio. Now 21 minutes remaining for the first time in this contest. Australia are in the lead. They too trailed by the 10 points, just like the Springboks did. How much do you remember when I lived in Miami? I do. I think I was eating Pringles at that time, wasn't I? Possibly, for a late night live stream. I might have the right person, I might have the wrong person, but if I've got the right one, that is a very niche reference that no one will understand. You any good at golf, mate? Not really. I'd like to be better, but I don't get a chance to play much. I've only played, I'd say, 2 times since the Rugby World Cup, whereas before the World Cup, I was playing like 3 or 4 times a week. But yeah, since the World Cup, it just broke my sleep schedule and also my golfing time. I would advise a vodka Fanta lemon before you try to play golf, says Fleshin. I have got a clip from when I did do a GoPro round of golf, and I slipped over. Maybe I will show it at the end of this live stream if you guys are lucky. I feel like we want to do some sort of goal, for me to show that, because it's a very embarrassing clip. Frisbee golf, that is true. We've played Frisbee golf. I wasn't very good at that either. New Zealand is moaned about refs. They just always used to win too, so nobody noticed. Says Sandor, update the score on the scoreboard. It should update itself, hopefully soon. It is a live scoreboard, so hopefully it realizes. You see, I remember things, says Kerr. Now going off to the left-hand side. And the officiating in the South African-New Zealand game was shocking. Both teams had bad decisions against them. TMO was non-existent in that match. Says Lilia Linikatau looking for the turnover there, but wasn't quite able to get it. Santiago Carreras, that was too much. Now 10 metres out from the line here. Australia managed to get the turnover, and then Argentina take it back. So we will see yet again another scrum. South Africa moan about the ref too. Russi even made mocking videos about refs. Says Red 7. In Brisbane, Australia here. Go the Pumas, need to win. I need you to win by 6 points or more, says Alex. Looks like Argentina starting to empty their bench a little bit. We see Juan Martin Gonzalez making his way back out on the field. And it looks like a couple more changes have also been made. We see Buzz and Velez now out there. Agreed, no chance. That will be a try for the ABs in New Zealand. And also Santiago Grondona has made his way on. There's the 17 for Australia, 2 tries, 1 converted. Coming up next for Argentina. Okay. Yeah, could be. That's the thing. Argentina, even though they haven't got the scrum feed, they're in a good position on the field where if this one gets kicked into touch, they are then going to have a good attacking position. Jake Gordon to put the ball in for the Australians. Gordon will look to clear his lines and does get the ball into touch. We had 7 that was ages ago. He's won another World Cup and got a title of Dr. Rassi. 140k ring. She's lucky to still be alive. Says Kerr. That's an expensive ring. That one. This was where's my tie gone? It's a $7 tie, I think it was. Or something along those lines. That's as far as my budget extends. I didn't even realise I had lost that. It's not even sitting right. I'll put it back in at the end of the game when we light it up. That sounds dodgy. But when we turn the lights off and then get the tie blaring. New Zealand should blame the ref. They were leading by 11 minutes to go. Or shouldn't blame the ref, sorry. From Bapello. Yeah, like they had their chances to win that game, and unfortunately they just weren't clinical enough throughout the game. And now it's going to be kicked downfield by Argentina. This looks like a 50-22 attempt, but there is an Australian back inside of his 22, so he will return fire with a kick of his own. Kick down towards the 22. Buzz and Velez. In fact, this time it's going to be Talmas Albanoz. Knock on from Santiago Carreras. Nice. It'll work again from Australia to retain that ball. Looking for the 50-22, but they have dropped it, or at least had a kick charged down. And $7 tie and 140k rings both fall off. Says Jimbo. When my ex-wife filed for divorce when I was stranded in St. Lucia, I made her put a wedding ring in my bank deposit box. Says Peter Wild. Now at the back, Albanoz again. Kicking this one downfield. It looks like a lot of players are just running back and forth at the moment in the process of the kicking battle. I hope you worked your way through her sisters, aunts, Peter, etc. Says Sandor. Australia back with the ball. Kai Lear, the replacement. Loose head prop tackled by the replacement. Tight head prop for Argentina. Rough pass there from Lolicio, and there was a knock on, which gives Argentina the possession. Julio Montoya now. Sitting 15 metres out, clip on tie. Yeah, although it's not even a clip on, it just doesn't have anything. Or does it? It's got an extendable thing. I am amazed, ladies and gentlemen. I just pulled on something I shouldn't have. But yeah, now it's the back of it is the neck strap. I broke it. It's stuck now. What do I do? Oh, I think I have to undo it. It zips itself up. It's stuck. I've actually broken it. It now no longer has that thing. Look of amazement on that face. Oh, wait, your tie extends. That's incredible. If that happened to the Bok, I would have complained also. Just bad refereeing, says Brian. I was streaming the NPC rugby games today. Not today, I don't believe. You idiot. Hey, that's pretty rough. No need for that, VG man. 15 minutes left. Josh Nassar now making his way onto the field. Did you get to watch much of them Olympics? Pretty much none apart from the sevens. I was unfortunately not really able to get to. I got to see a bit of the rowing, but that was about it. It sends itself up. You're talking about, says Peter Wild, back in the Kiwis to win the America sailing again. Not sure. Did we drop the boat or did South Africa, not South Africa, did the other side drop the boat? How good was Reagan at the Olympics? Certainly was a trailblazer, you could say. Now Buzz and Velez to feed the ball in for Argentina. They've got a perfect opportunity here to add 3 points, if not 7, if they can get it right here. Now going off to the left-hand side. Sitting 15 metres out. Juan Martin Gonzalez, he is still the only player for Argentina who scored try in this match. Should mention that Augustin Crevi has not made his way onto the field just yet. Counter right coming from Isaac Kailia, but he doesn't quite get it now around the side. Thomas Gush, he's dropped the ball as he was almost running in the try. Thomas Gusho has fumbled. And he cannot believe it. The big forward for the Argentines. That was the chance to get in the lead. He did a bongy, says Zandor. But a chance and a half. Thomas Gusho, Harry Wilson also helping make the tackle. But Argentina on the counter-attack after the Australian 22. 5 metres out. Juan Gonzalez. Got member of 17 months. Almost 1.5 years here. Time flies. Certainly does. Like, it's crazy to think that we're already 9 months through 2024. It feels like only yesterday that we were in January. But now we're all of a sudden near the end of the year. Like, it's almost Christmas. But yeah, it has been greatly appreciated, Kerr, for the time that you spent on the channel. Of course, you have been a very generous individual throughout that time. People will remember those Hippo donations randomly at middle of the night live streams. Greatly appreciated all throughout it. You've helped fund the tie, you know, which is fantastic. I'm going to take the headset off for a second so I can put this on. I have to be careful not to strangle myself with this thing. I got to stick my hoodie in it. We have got a stoppage in play, ladies and gentlemen. Don't mind me. I'm just doing weird things. That's so much easier than an actual tie to do up. Do I look cool? Also, is it a record for Clark scoring 3 tries against the Box? Not sure about that record, but yeah, getting 2 today was massive for him. Some people are into that whole strangling thing, says Kerr. And also, is it a record? Oh no, I read that one. And Mr. Google, really handy to show you how to knock them ties, God send, that you didn't have a clue. Or when you didn't have a clue. Says Dennis, it feels like only yesterday Glasgow won the URC. It actually doesn't. We're only 20 days away from the URC starting back up. It feels like exactly 10 months since Ireland didn't win the World Cup, says Jimbo. Welcome in the month of September, dude. Happy Sunday. Says Ali. Now, Argentina have got themselves the chance to kick this one towards the touchline. I believe they've actually opted to go for the corner rather than taking on the 3 points. Big call. But it could be one that pays off here for Argentina. If they do get it right, it feels like only yesterday. You're like, we're going into winter, and when we're going into summer now, it's reversed. I'm pretty happy that we don't have winter anymore, though, just because like winter was brutal in terms of doing those streams with minus like 3 weather, which isn't even that cold for some people, of course, but like having a nice long evening in the summer, you just can't beat it. Now I'll go on with the rolling maul. Transferring the ball, Pablo Matera gets it back into the hands of Grondona. 5 metres out from the try line now for Los Pumas. Can they put a bit of a stamp on this game? You always look cool, says Lilia B. And they're doing Springbok moves in the line out. And Munster giving 4-1 odds for winning URC title this year. Definitely worth a thought. Thought my tongue would get in the wrong place there. See, but if I was to do it, I'd only put like $1 on it, so I get back $4. You know, I'm not putting $1,000. But then saying that, like 45-1, you've picked that perfectly, haven't you? Right, multiple movements. They're going to go back for the original penalty advantage and almost a try. Suffer the Summers, says Mikhail. But yeah, it's interesting because you like when it's in winter, you want it to be summer. When it's in summer, you almost want it to be winter. Like, because this warm weather will be nice up until it's not. When it gets too hot and you start sweating, when you just go for a walk to the fridge, that is when you kind of go, oh, winter's not that bad. Don't cut yourself short. Get $4 plus the one you make. So it makes 5. That's true. Long-term investment. 4-1. Quarter, Irish quarter. Curse extended for another 1,000 years confirmed. And got the cash Springboks in play, says Bavani and Carberry Gonkur. And they need a good replacement 10. Because who'd they get in the end as their 10? Did they get Frawley, or who was it that that went to Munster. Or if they got another young player. It looks like they're actually going to take on the 3 here, Argentina, with only 11 minutes remaining. Yeah, I hope you are doing well, itchy Nats. Hopefully your Nats aren't itchy. We've got there 14 Ellie and Crowley, says Anthony Walsh in there as well. But Albanoz, it's still decent odd. Those balls are 6-1, says Kerr. And also Argentina 19, Australia 17. I think my score prediction is still possible because my score prediction was 24-19, which would mean Australia to score a converted try in the last 10 minutes of this game. 11 minutes to go and Argentina have taken the lead back now, ladies and gents. Terrible weather conditions they are just showing once again. They seem to have a Viagra epidemic in Ireland. They can't crack a semi. And what price Glasgow to retain, says Jimbo. Above $1,000 on Glasgow at 14-1. Won't come in, I don't think, but why not? Says Kerr. Now kicking it downfield. Oh, nicely taken by Argentina under the high ball. Does that result today mean we are number 1 again in the rankings? Not again, says Dennis. I don't like summer because you can't control the heat, but in winter you can wear warm clothes and turn on a heater, says Bapello. That is very true. I always say you can always take more clothes off. You can always put more clothes on. You can't always take more off. That's well taken by Argentina, retaining their kick again here. Australia, they're going to need more position if they want to win this game. Albanoz going for the little chip in behind. He's going to go towards the touchline, but Tom Wright is there ready to create a bit of an angle for himself. And look to kick it downfield, but he doesn't find touch. I went too hard and ripped the cord out mower, so I knocked off. So you made your tyre behave. Well done, bro. See Frog Log. Yeah, I learned that it's retractable, this tyre, so I'm feeling all happy at the moment. I've learnt something today. How many points did the All Blacks have? In the end, they had 27 in that contest. The Springboks, if they win their next game and they win it by 30, they will also extend the longest run that they have ever had of 30-plus point wins. Although they'd have to win the one after that up against Argentina as well. I still find it odd that Leinster are heavy favourites, says Kerr. Yeah, I guess that's the thing. Leinster, as good as they are during the regular season, they haven't been able to back it up in those big games. Sorry, Jimbo. But it's just, unfortunately, the case for them. Nice clearing kick from Nolalesco, but only gets it down to the halfway line. Now Argentina on the attack. Albanoz looking for the pass on the inside to Lucio Cinti. Manages to get through 2 tackle attempts. One of the Wallabies is face down at the moment. Looks like he might have some sort of injury here. Albanoz, Marika Kurumpetti slaps it backwards, but Argentina get the ball back again. Australia, they get themselves the knock on. Australia's playing on the wrong side of the field. Says Red 7. Can't accept short odds, but not as short as it is. Says Kerr. And broken play looking dangerous. And Creevy in. Yep, just about to make his way onto the field. It is Augustine Creevy. Massive chance for that man to cement himself once again as a game winner for Argentina. He did it late in the game up against New Zealand. He wants to do it again here up against the Australians. We missed all the silverware the last few seasons. If you and George ever get off your fence and come up north, I'll be here with Seb to show you the right places to visit, says Fleshin. I feel like George in Europe would be a dangerous combination. Creepy equals legend, says Red 7. The rain has helped the Aussies. And Creevy, RIP autocorrect, says Red 7. Let's the word 10, 11-10. And second favourites were 3-1. Says Kerr. I'm guessing the Box will do a heavy rotation against Argentina, says Sandor. More than likely, that will be the plan. Did the All Blacks get 4 tries? They did indeed. 2 for Caleb Clark, 1 for Cody Taylor, and 1 for Geordie Barrett. Whereas South Africa, they had 1 for Umbanambi, 1 for Quagga Smith, and 1 for Grant Williams. A couple more changes are being made by the looks of it here. I think Angus Bell has made his way back out onto the field. That is for Isaac Kaileo. Went off with an HIA, I believe it was. 7 minutes left. Argentina, they have got Australia exactly where they want them, inside of Aussie's 22, but Australia have got themselves a scrum feed, so looking for success, and then a nice exit there. Hi, Hamish, says Yarnley. Welcome in, mate. If you are keeping well, Santiago Carreras, it looks like his day is also done with a bit of an injury. But on a serious note, have you watched Baby Reindeer on Netflix? I have not. Is that the one about the woman who, she did something, didn't she? Can't remember what it was, but she did something. Did they allow Bongi strike? They did in that one. Now, both front rows going up. 1:49 a.m. here watching the game. So here's Janlu. Stalker. Okay. So she did something, just not quite the right thing. George and Ibiza would catapult your channel. Says Fleshin. It would be a risky one. I feel like someone would get punched by the end of the trip. Probably me. George would probably say to someone, oh, this guy said something, and then I'd just get dropped. She's a lawyer too, says Mr. Holland. Stalked a guy, yeah, worth a watch, says Kerr. And as Argentina come into South Africa, they are for one match, and then the second match, South Africa are playing at home up against the Pumas. Now Tate McDermott going to feed this ball in for the Australians, and they have got themselves the penalty. Also, Glasgow Ice Cream Van Wars, says Kerr. Glasgow Ice Cream Van Wars. Is it on Netflix, that one? She did an interview with Piers Morgan. She's crazy. And when are we getting an Instagram post? I want to do one, but now I feel like we've got to find the perfect Instagram picture. I was going to post one that was extremely out of focus, like that I took about 2 Christmases ago, or probably last year, I think it might have been. But I didn't know whether or not it would be worthy of a first Instagram post. 5 minutes ago, I know the Panthers will clinch the win here, says Kerr. Final score prediction. I still am going to go with my original one, which was 24-17 to Australia. They have to score soon, though, if they want to do so, or else Argentina, they will get themselves the victory. But McDermott decides to kick this one up high. Nobody gets dropped in Ibiza. Says Fleshin. I'm still a bit confused. Bongi strike was confirmed, wasn't it? Says Sandor. It was indeed confirmed. Sandor. Well, James Dolman tells them to use it. What's happening in the game at the moment? There's a bit of a kicking battle, and now we've got ourselves the line out. But it was a bit back and forth. Not really either side going anywhere, just in that wee moment. Oh, well, you'll be pretty close, hopefully 24-19, says your mum. Oh, no, sorry, I might have said 24-19. I know that sounds like I'm just correcting it, but I think when it was 16-14, I said 24-19, I believe. Who has the ball? It is going to be an Argentine line-out, I believe, here. Justine Crevi trying to fire up his side. In fact, no, sorry, we're going back for the original scrum for the knock-on. Arm wrestle, middle field, 5 to go. And Glasgow is mad. Says Kerr, yeah, I was going to use this as the first Instagram post because of how blurry it was. And I felt like it would be quite funny, but I didn't. I thought you did say 24-19 to Australia. Maybe you could do fishing tips on the Insta when there's no rugby on. Although for fishing tips, I'd have to catch more fish, I think. Australia can't find the game, but it is going to be a scrum feed here for the Argentines, 45 metres out. They put it in for the Argentines off the back. Here comes Pablo Matera. Good low tackle made by Tate McDermott. Argentina still in possession, 45 out, 4 minutes remaining in this matchup as well. Bazin Velez goes to the right. Off to Eduardo Bachot. Bazin Velez. He's going to roll this one back. He's told to use it. Referee not messing around when it comes to those breakdowns. Marika Kurumbete running onto it, but he does knock the ball on. They don't have to be good fishing tips, says Dylan. Little chip in behind, bounce the ball not favourable, and that is now going to be in the hands of the Australians. Counter-attack coming, Noel Alessio. Option to the wide, cut-out pass. Calling for it on the inside. Oh, it's dropped by the youngster. Jorgensen can't hang on to it, and Argentina now have got the ball back. Frost was asking for it on the inside, but they went on the outside and the ball was put down. Come on, in before 2 in the morning. Says, cool story, bro. Back into the pocket, Argentina. They will clear it. Albanoz doesn't get the angle he's after. 20 metres out. Australia again have got themselves the line out. If you had to do any type of sport on here, which sport would you like to do live? Or any other type of sport? I quite like to do a bit of MMA. Just because I have a slight bit of knowledge about it. Or cricket. Those are the ones that we've done in the past. Although I don't think we've done an MMA live stream, which seems ironic because I've watched more MMA than cricket probably lately. So Bongi's try, a game-winning try was confirmed. Cray, says Sandor. And Young Team says red, 7 face palm. Says for a log, but now 3 minutes remaining. And they've managed to retain the ball here, Australia. Looking for the rolling maul. Imani has said good. I should mention anyone who is new to the channel, be sure to leave a like. And subscribe, please. Tell us what is going on. Can't see the match, mate. Says Zingwa, we were waiting for that line out to take place. Now the rolling maul is occurring. 22 metres out from the line for the Australians. Tate McDermott receives the ball. Comes the run from Hamish Stewart. And the Aussies put together something big here late in the game. Big run from Tate McDermott. Sniping run round the side of the breakdown. Rob Valentini calling for the reinforcements. Finds Harry Wilson. They're not too far out from the line now. Rob Valentini gets them within 10. Matera looking for the turnover in the breakdown, but he can't quite get it. I think this is Australia's last chance. You may guess that would be great. Says Flesh come on the RG, says Dylan. Dermott again goes left. Goes off to Langy Gleeson. Oh, Creevy almost got in there in time. Alan Alatoa, big shot coming in on him. Australia, great ball retention at the moment, but can they get over? They're up to 8 phases. Drop goal, says Sandor. It could be on the cards, but being this close to the line, I feel like they will also consider just hoping for a penalty advantage. And then from there, that's the thing as well, though. Noel Alisio has missed drop goals before. So I think that is why they haven't decided to go with that. It's turned over, but the penalty to the Australians. 5 metres out from the line with only 1 minute and 8 seconds remaining. Mako Vivas penalised. Australia may just be able to take this one right at the end. By the time that they set it up on the kicking tee, this game might be over. And this is it, says Patricio. Let's go, says Zing, and also, come on, Aussies. Says reflecting trees in there as well. I think Argentina just asking what that penalty is for. It's against Mako Vivas. Okay. We'll go for goal, sir, is the comment from Ben Donaldson. Now they're just getting the confirmation of the shot clock. How much time is remaining in this game? I believe it is less than a minute. They've got 58 seconds to take the kick. They've got 40 seconds remaining in this game. And Australia, right at the end, seem like they should be able to take the victory. Now, this kick is not even debatable. It is 5 metres out in front of the post. All Donaldson needs to do is put this ball over in 25 seconds' time. Is it an easy kick? The easiest that he could have asked for in this situation. Imagine if he times out now, says Anthony. Yeah, it would be a massive mistake. Dolman, though, keeping them informed about how much time is remaining on the clock. Come on, the Pumas. Says Greta there. But 4 seconds left. He will wear down the shot clock, ladies and gentlemen. The siren is sounding. Time is over. Ben Donaldson gets it down the middle. And that is time. There was a second there where it seemed like we were going to have a kickoff, but Australia will win this game 20 points to 19. They get themselves the win. Looks like Juan Cruz Malia having a conversation with the referee there. He is not happy with the decision. That is going to be the game. That's rough, says Gergia. Right in the final moments after a pretty strong performance overall from Argentina, just making one last mistake. And then Australia managed to get themselves the win. They will get their first points of the Rugby Championship. And well done, Australia. Says, cool story, bro. Good job, guys. Says Tapu there. And thanks, bro, for commentating. Love you. Says In Gaming. Thank you very much for being here. And anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. Nice Australia did not deserve that. I bet they didn't even know how they did that. Says Sandor. And minus $5,000. Grr. Says Peter Wild. I did not bet anything on this game, luckily, because I did think Argentina would win. And the ref wasn't great there. Says, pleasure and goodbye. Well done, Australia. And cheers, Hamish. Says, VG man, and Australia was lucky. Says Adrian, and great content. Says Simon, thank you very much, mate. Greatly appreciated. We are here for all of the Rugby Championship, the November internationals we are covering on the channel as well. So anyone who is new, be sure to leave a like. And also subscribe. Ugly game, but entertaining. Yeah, I mean, the weather conditions really didn't help this game. but we still got a relatively decent contest in the end from it. Should have just given it to the wife, says Sandor, and 2 tries for 1 for Oz. They deserve it. And good for the Springboks. It means 1 more win, and we will take it, says Endo. Yeah, that win, it could come next week up against New Zealand. It's going to be a massive game. We are, of course, going to be covering that one on their channel as well. We did see Rob Valentini score the try for the Australians in this matchup. We saw Argentina score with Juan Cruz Malia. Or sorry, not Juan Cruz Malia, but Juan Martin Gonzalez. And then I think Australia, did they get another try as well as Valentini's, or was it all penalties? The rest of their points. I want to say they did get another try, but I can't remember who actually got it. And Going Golfing now says, Lilia B, I might consider it. It's a decent enough day. I haven't heard from anyone yet in terms of whether or not anyone else is keen for a bit of golf. I still think the Aussies are going to get wiped in the Bledisloe, and Argentina's introduction to being complete, says Kerr. And 2 tries, says Anthony. Who scored the other try? I can't even remember who got it for the Australians. I know that we saw the try for Rob Valentini. Who got the other one? I can't even think of who got it. And thanks for the company, Hamish. Have a good day, RB Bliss man. Well, mate, regards to the family. Says Cameron K. Oh, okay, so that was off the back. They've said that he played the 9. What's a round cost? A round cost. What do you mean? A round cost? Oh, sorry, yeah, for golf. Sorry, my brain was blank. So at the local club, it's $20. I think for 9 holes, 35 for 18, but I am a member, so I get it for free. Well, I don't get it for free because I paid a membership. But I might have to try and get me handicap down this summer. I think it's a little bit high at the moment of golf, says Salvatore. Yeah, sorry for being a bit slow and realising. What's my handicap at the moment? I feel like we need to have a series on the channel where I try and get my handicap lower than it is currently. Is that something you guys would watch, or do you just like the rugby side of things? That Puma pulling, Bongi costume, shaking a baby, says Reese Bell. That seems odd. Do we just want Australia to exist as a union team? Do you reckon Wildcard will be happy? I think he'll be happy enough. At the end of the day, they got the win, and that is what matters in a game like this. They had to dig deep for it and try Argentina 10-7 for the Australians, says Anthony. And also, I think Wildcard will be frustrated, but okay. The performance was meh, says Reed. Says Reed. Oh, yeah, Jake Gordon was the other man who got the try, ladies and gents. That was in the first half, the Tom Wright offload that then led to Jake Gordon scoring. Joe Schmidt smiling, says Salvatore. Yeah, it was an interesting game. Close one. 2 close games of the Rugby Championship. Exactly what we want to see. Speaking of something that people want to see, I'm now going to turn off the lights in my room, ladies and gentlemen, and we are going to get this tie blasting. Some people might be confused by that statement, but we're going in the dark. Seems like a good idea at the time. There we go. It's still pretty bright, so it won't really change too much. Here we go. Bit of a party strip show, says Red 7. It doesn't look as cool as I hoped that it would, I'll be honest. It's kind of just anticlimactic, but, you know, it is what it is, I guess. A wildcard wants the Bledisloe, I should say. Joe Schmidt looking like he's 100 years old. Boom party time, says Sandor. An ugly game, but Australia still won. Wildcard will be frustrated, but okay, and cool to me, says Robert. And Mr. All-In has said lol in there as well. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, I do thank you all very much for your attendance throughout this weekend. We've had a couple of massive streams overall, and we've got more coming next weekend. We are going to be covering the 2 games of the Rugby Championship. Alongside that, we are also going to do some videos throughout the week. We've got ourselves the lineup predictions. We've got our starting XVs that we would go with. We've got the lineups when they are announced. And Feel the Tie I send you, I'll be a letdown after seeing that. I just don't think it will be, Kerr. If it's got yellow on it, I think it will be absolutely fine. And, you know, was this a good purchase? Absolutely not. That's because we are bad, says Matty T. I feel like it's not my worst purchase ever, though. You treat Amish, love the tie, says Lilia B. Yeah, some of the stats are quite interesting. Australia had less carry meters. They had more post-contact meters. Oh, rainy day, bad rugby. Says, yep, yeah. To be honest, I think I want them to win it. Says a Mr. All-In. 18 defenders beaten for Australia compared to the 14 that we saw of the Argentines. It's just one of those games that there was that back and forth element to it. But at the end, it was the Australians who were able to be just that little bit stronger and managed to get themselves the victory. And cheers, boss. See you. And final word. How good was Bongi's try, though? Says Sandor. I mean, it was good for a interesting try. Typical rookie mistake. Argentina should have kept the ball for just 3 minutes. Says, yeah. And they save money, or they say money doesn't buy happiness. I've never seen a man with a light up tie sad, though. It's a fair point. Oh, they've got Harry Wilson in the darkness at the moment. They've turned off the stadium lights. They need to give him one of these so that he can actually see. And now the Aussies are somehow keeping themselves relevant in the sport they don't care for. Thanks for the commentary, bro. Top notch. Says Matty T, 3 minutes can be a long time. CC, take that, wife. Says Sandor. And there as well. But Harry Wilson, his first game as captain, does manage to get himself a win under the belt. 100% captaincy winning rate for that man. But United States versus Canada is a game that is just about to take place, ladies and gentlemen, for the Pacific Nations Cup. I'll be keeping an eye on that one. We won't be commentating it, but we will just be watching eagerly, find out who is going to be playing who in the later stages of the Pacific Nations Cup. But next week, like I said, we have got a couple massive live streams, the rematch of New Zealand versus South Africa, and then also Argentina versus Australia, the rematch of this game we've just witnessed. Fiji play Tonga in the Pacific Nations Cup. That will be on Friday. Well, you've seen one now, says Lilia B. Hamish smiling his ass off, as worth a light-up tie, says Red 7. Yeah, it seemed like a good idea. I'm happy enough. You should see the other random stuff that I bought, though, at the same time as this tie. Luckily, I haven't got that on me, and I don't think I will. I think the tie, though, felt like a good occasion to have it, definitely with the dark, rainy day that they're playing in Argentina. The lighting isn't actually terrible, believe it or not. Like, in terms of not the tie, but just the lighting in general, I've got nothing on in terms of lights. It's just the screen brightness that is making us bright. But, like I said, big game's coming up just around the corner. Where did you get it? Says Kerr. I got it off Temu. It was like $6. And I also got something else for the channel, which will hopefully arrive soon. But at the same time, I was like, oh, light up tie. Yeah, why not? Temu says Red 7, yeah. And that's gold. Shutting up, or shutting an Aussie up is great. RP Temu says Red 7. But yeah, it was a impulse buy at about 5 a.m. That's why Temu ads keep coming up. Says yeah, because they keep getting funding from myself buying light up ties. But nonetheless, ladies and gentlemen, I do thank you all very much. You got a sponsorship deal? I do not, sadly. I don't actually have any sponsors. I should get one because I keep drinking water, which you should to keep alive. But I feel like with my big water bottle, I should try and get some sort of logo on it, other than the logo that's there. To be fair, I spent 200 on Temu before. We're a Springbok tie a next weekend, dude. Says Ali Martins. I do have a Springbok shirt that has like world champions on it, but that is away from me that I can't put it on. Is my good excuse to use. Hey, Temu underpants are great, says Gleason. And there's over Harry Wilson, big game as captain, making 14 tackles, having 12 carries, one defender being last year was sponsored by Kerr, Avia Royal Caribbean. Says Kerr, that is true. Like our whole pretty much being on YouTube in terms of being able to do so many streams was because of your generosity. And we were able to, fund the streaming software. We had the green screen. I recently got a laptop, and some of that was actually from your generosity last year, or earlier this year. With this win, Argentina is still ahead of Aussie. I believe they are just, because Argentina will receive the bonus points, so they'll move up to 5 points on the overall standings. And then Australia will be on 4 points at the end of this round. Best ref ever. So here's James. My partner loves her sexy Temu dresses. $200 late though. says a red. Or $200 later, though. I do like these extended chats. Thank you, Hamish. The Kerr sponsor the beard. Says Jimbo. He did not, but the beard's still not really quite there the way that we want it to be. Do the underpants light up too? Says Lilia B. Be a bit fancy, wouldn't it? I wouldn't trust wearing underpants that light up. I hardly trust wearing the tie. And IRB World Rankings, says Kerr. In fact, we'll have a quick look now while we are at it. World Rugby Rankings. There's a lot of pressure. I can't type under pressure. Rankings. There we go. I'll get the calculator out because I think that's the way we'll be able to work out who's actually sitting where. So currently, South Africa gained 0.26 by beating New Zealand. New Zealand lost 0.26, but they are still in third. Ireland are in second, but if New Zealand had beat South Africa, and even if they beat them next week, I believe Ireland will go into first on the overall rankings. Might be the possibility. Hang on, we'll do this quickly. We'll do a quick calculation. So if New Zealand beat South Africa next week, yeah, Ireland would go to number 1 in the world rankings if New Zealand beat South Africa, even if they beat them by 1. And then, if New Zealand beat South Africa by more than 13, or I think it's more than 15 actually, so they'd have to beat them by 16, and South Africa would drop to 3rd in the world rankings. New Zealand would go 2nd, Ireland would go 1st, which just shows you how quickly the world rankings can change. This is making a beeping noise. This is what controls the tie. Can you guys hear that? I doubt you can. We might just turn that off before it explodes. I'm missing Fuff de Klerk. Says Ali, and Scotland up to 6th, and Argentina dropped to 7th. Says Kurt. That is true. Scotland up to the 6th. Argentina went down 1.73. Australia go up to 8th, ahead of the Italians. Interesting. So there's plenty that can happen in the next little while as Fuff de Klerk inject. He's injured, yes. Unfortunately, Fuff de Klerk not available for these matches. Well, that didn't sound good. But yeah, nonetheless, I do thank you all very much for tuning in to this live stream. We are not too far away from the end, but I do thank you all very much for watching these streams over the weekend. It's been massively awesome to see so many people in these ones. He got a haircut, says Kerr. And ear-regulated cheap Timu underpants work in Spain. Says Flesh in there. I should mention anyone who hasn't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. We are 11 subscribers away from 53,000. Now, I assume that most people who are on this live stream are already subscribed, but if you haven't already, be sure to hit that subscribe button. Let's see if we can get just that little bit closer to 53 by the end of the live stream. But next weekend, like I said, still plenty more international games of rugby. Throughout the week, we will have the Springboks XV video, the All Blacks XV, the Springboks lineup prediction, the All Blacks lineup prediction, the 2 lineups when they are announced, and then also alongside that, a preview of the match before heading into the weekend as well. But thank you all very much for tuning in. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel, and I will see you all for the next